Health Clubs for our lowest month-to-month rate that we'll offer in all of 2023. Plus, no enrollment fees and no contracts. Offer extended. Act now. It will not get any better than this. Join at GenesisHealthClubs.com now because this special won't last. This offer has been extended for a limited time.
They say they'll get your biggest tax refund. Jackson Hewitt says your biggest tax refund guaranteed and a chance to double your tax refund. Thousands in weekly prizes during the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. Your biggest refund times 2, twice the money, so forget about them. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Promotion ends 4/2/23. Visit jacksonhewitt.com for rules.
Hey, it's Happer for the FanDuel Sportsbook. It's finally time in the NFL for Conference Championship weekend, and it's time for you to get involved with the FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account because they're giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay for championship weekend. That means you'll get free bets back if your Conference Championship game same-game parlay doesn't hit. Player props, touchdown props, interception props, they're going to be all over the board for the Conference Championship games on Sunday. You parlay a couple together, and you've got yourself cooked up a nice little same-game parlay. Or if you can't decide on what to do, you could ride with thousands of other fans and bet popular same-game parlays that are already up on the FanDuel app. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up using the promo code Happer and see for yourself why it's America's #1 sportsbook. Or if you already have FanDuel, you can start building your no-sweat same-game parlay right now. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa, 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus, $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-BETS off.
Smart homeowners know that proper maintenance of their home's AC can save a bundle in the long run. Trust our comfort specialists at 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning to keep your AC running strong. A proactive tune-up can actually help your AC run more efficiently and save you money on your electric bill. Just call 402-788-1234 to schedule your preseason tune-up for just $79.
Always on time, or you don't pay time.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
A crossover is...
Crossover dribble.
Sing for the crossover.
Kyrie Irving, crossover in the lane. One of the most famous crossovers of all time. Behind the back, an ankle breaker on Chris Paul.
Crossover.
Double crossover. The crossover continues to evolve.
All right, time for the crossover. Hello. Gary, how are you? Good, Ravi. How are you? I'm good. Long time no see. It has been a while. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. We're still in January, so it's not weird.
Yeah, I know. I apologize to Larry David. I violated the rule that once you're past the 7th of January, you can't say Happy New Year anymore.
But what if you haven't seen somebody?
I know. That's well, I don't think he took that into account.
That's true. Larry David doesn't always consider all of the possibilities here. He's got to consider some more variables.
Curb Your Enthusiasm, by the way. Is there another season on the horizon?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a big Curb guy. I'm not. I'm not a big Seinfeld guy.
I know we've had this discussion.
I'm not a big Curb guy. Like, I get it. I get why people like it. It's just not really for me. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's just not my deal. I think it's the age. There's a little age gap there. Like, I think I'm just a little young.
Yes.
Just like a little bit too young.
I could see that. But you're an Office guy, right?
Oh, I love The Office.
Okay, so like it's different ways of you present humor.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
You know what? The one thing about The Office, like there are people that like The Office that I'm really surprised they like it.
Really?
Because the way that it is presented is so disjointed compared to everything else that I'm thinking people that say, oh, I love The Office and I've seen every episode. I'm like, there are other shows you don't like. How do you like The Office? Because of the way it is filmed.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, that doesn't bother me. It's honestly, I don't even know what it is about Seinfeld that it might just be that it looks old. Like the visual of it. Sometimes that gets to me where
especially those early seasons.
Yeah, so the later ones, which translate better to HD.
Yes,
I know what you're talking about. Like the pilot, and then the first like 2 seasons, it looks really grainy,
pretty rough. Yeah,
and the characters look really, really old. But then they're later where they're able to make the transition to HD. Then the color is a lot better.
Yeah, 100%. So I do think that's part of it. I have a hard time, honestly, going back before. There's certain shows, I think it's before like the mid to late 90s. Anything that's before that, a lot of times visually just is hard for me to watch. So that's probably more of it than anything. But I haven't watched the whole series. I watched probably the first 4 seasons of Seinfeld. I was like, I get why people like this. Yeah. I get how this opened the gateway for the sitcoms that we have today. So I appreciate it. But it's not something where I'm like, yes, I have to sit down and watch Seinfeld. Yeah. It's not one of those things where I'm just going to binge over and over again. Like I've seen The Office in full probably a dozen times. Like I just will have it on. You know, Parks and Rec is kind of the same way. But the Seinfeld is just that's not my deal.
Don't you guys think that The Office has aged better since it's been off the air than when it was on the air? And it was popular on the air, but I hear more people watch and talk about The Office and talk about the characters who are everywhere more than when the show was going on NBC.
It was a weird little quirky show when it was on, and now it's like the most beloved show.
Streaming was really, really good for The Office.
Yeah.
It was A, streaming, and then B, this sounds weird, but the pandemic was really good for it because like that whole like Gen Z that was just too young for it discovered it and found out they loved it. So you kind of had this whole other audience come in and figure out that they loved it. But it's a show that is perfect for streaming because you can bang out 10 episodes and not even realize it. Like you're just, I've just spent 3 hours watching The Office and I haven't even gotten up yet, you know? So that to me, it really suits itself for watching multiples.
Yeah.
Whereas if you watch it in real time, it kind of moved a little slow.
Oh, it did.
And I think it was on purpose because it wasn't really a plot-driven show necessarily. But when you're binging it, you put the plot together a lot more and a lot quicker, and I think it's just better.
Can I expect a 4-hour passionate plea for Scott Rowland being in the Hall of Fame? Carlos Beltran?
Not from me. I do like Beltran. His, what was it? 05 playoffs was about as good as anybody's ever had. So it's hard to argue with that. He had a really, really nice career. I think they're probably going to hold the Astros thing against him, which doesn't make a ton of sense since it was not during his playing career and certainly not his idea. It doesn't seem like. So
well, it doesn't seem like so. And I agree with you. I made that case earlier that I think for a guy that during his era was one of the the best center fielder, and he has a resume worthy of being in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
is there will be voters that lump him with Barry Bonds and Manny Ramirez. If you believe that those guys and PED guys should not be in, you're lumping Carlos Beltran in with them,
which doesn't make any sense.
No, but I think that's going to happen here on his first go around.
Yes, he's definitely not making it the first time. I'd be shocked. First of all, I think the people that hold out the Barry Bonds of the world are also stupid, but it's also a totally different thing than that.
Yes,
you're not even in the same like stratosphere from Barry Bonds to Carlos Beltran. I mean, we are. I would argue Barry Bonds is not even in the same realm as Manny Ramirez because Manny Ramirez got caught multiple times. Like you can't point to a positive Barry Bonds test.
And you can make the case Manfred didn't do anything to the players
that
were involved in it
at all.
So that's why, like down the road, like a Correa, a Bregman, and an Altuve, when their career is over and the voting public probably kind of turns over a little bit, if any of that stuff will ever be held against them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird because baseball has a long and proud history of cheating. That's what the sport does. You try and cheat until somebody catches you, and then you find a new way to cheat. So it's almost like baked into the fabric of the game.
Stealing signs is like something you learn early.
It's stealing signs is as old as baseball. Okay. And then you go to pitchers like manipulating the surface of the ball or throwing spitters or like actually cutting the baseball and all sorts of things that are just cheating is part of baseball. It always has been. So we don't care about it when it's happening, but then we all act all high and mighty when it's time to put people in the Hall of Fame. It's like, you don't think any of the guys in the Hall of Fame that you were doing now weren't like scratching the surface of the baseball or, you've got known like spitballers in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
And no one cares.
Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb's it.
Amongst a lot of other things.
Amongst other things. You want to talk about a morality clause for the Baseball Hall of Fame. Like, don't even get me started on Ty Cobb. But you want to celebrate these guys that actively and proudly were putting Vaseline on a baseball, and you're telling me that, Barry Bonds or Manny Ramirez or Carlos Beltran shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame? Get out of here with that. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not as big of a Scott Rowland guy. If he gets in, I don't care, but I'm not going to.
But okay, so like any sport, like we're lucky enough in the NBA, one of the greatest of all time is playing 38 years old, and he's playing as a top 5 player in the league right now.
Absolutely.
LeBron James. Like the initial look, they're either a Hall of Famer or not. Like I never thought of Scott Rowland as a Hall of Famer during his career. And then I do look at what he did, and especially defensively, I'm like, okay, I can see because you're comparing him to other third basemen that are in the Hall. You're either a Hall of Famer or not.
Yeah.
And just because you're going to hang on the ballot and people are going to come off and your total is going to go up. I mean, right away, do we think Scott Rowland, Todd Helton, and Billy Wagner are Hall of Famers?
Todd Helton, yes, that's the only one.
So Todd Helton might get in today.
I think
he's kind of trending towards that 75%.
I think Todd Helton's a Hall of Famer. Out of those 3 guys, the one that stuck out as that guy's a Hall of Famer is Todd Helton, because I think he was as good at his position. Like I consider him during his career one of the best at his position.
Yep.
Now Scott Rowland probably was for pieces too, but he overlapped a lot with Chipper, and that I think hurts him because he was never he was never better than Chipper.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can't look at him and be like, oh, he was the best player at his position for this stretch of his career. And if you're not ever the best player at your position, or can make at least compelling case for it, like that's hard for me to be like, oh, you're a Hall of Famer.
That's where, and the NFL gets it right. I mean, most guys that during an extended period of time were the best player at their position are getting into Canton.
Or the best thing, they were the best at the thing they did.
Yes.
Right. So if you were a defensive guy, like you were the best perimeter defender in the league, you're getting in or whatever. Now
we just need that to happen for Devin Hester.
Yes, you do. Basketball is weird because kind of everybody gets in. Basketball is just kind of a revolving door.
Which is too bad because, but then I say that and I look at the people that are in and I'm like, man, there's a lot of people it's hard to not say, well, they contribute to the game. They should be in.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Antoine Jameson's in, which is like, name me one interesting thing Antoine Jameson ever did.
Well, that's like a guy like that. I'd be curious on what was the push of, hey, this is why he should be in the Basketball Hall of Fame next to, not in the same wing, but guys like Jordan and Bird and Magic.
I think he got to 20,000 points and that was it. That's the thing though. Yeah. Like there's certain benchmarks where for whatever reason, the basketball voters like, oh, you get to 20,000 points, you're in. Like, well, yeah, he played like 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not, I don't know.
Not like LeBron, who averaged 1,000 points for every year of his life on earth.
Yes. Like that's LeBron James having a 20-year career and putting up the numbers. If you're going to play for 18 years, you should end up in the top 10 of some categories, right? If you're going to that's a Hall of Fame career at that point. You're playing 18 years and just kind of hanging around. Like that's cool. Good for you. Cash those checks, but you don't get to be in the Hall of Fame. The Basketball Hall of Fame is totally messed up.
And it's too bad because their ceremony, which always gets lost because it's in the fall, has some of the best speeches.
Oh yeah.
And it's
well, you've got great characters.
Yes. And usually who attends the ceremony are the best in the game that are still with us.
Yes, absolutely. So it's too bad that they don't do a better job with it. There was Bill Simmons put together, he like revamped it in when he wrote a book on basketball, or the book of basketball, and he made a pyramid so that you could basically rate the guys within the Hall of Fame. And then like the very top levels, like your Pantheon guys. And I actually like that concept a lot, where it's like, hey, you're a Hall of Famer, you're a level 1 Hall of Famer. You're not a Pantheon Hall of Famer. Those are like your Jordans, your Bill Russells, your Birds, your Magics, your LeBrons when he gets there. The next level is like all-timers, but you didn't transcend the game. So that would be like your like KDs, your Tim Duncans, those type of guys. Steph Curry will probably end up in that one. But why can't we rank people within the Hall of Fame?
I agree. I like that idea.
Because
it would make it easier.
Well, there's such a variance, right? I mean, even in the Hall of Fames that do it right. Like, let's say, like, are you a Burt Blyleven guy? Like Burt Blyleven should be in?
I was surprised that he made the Hall of Fame.
So let's say Burt Blyleven's in the Hall of Fame, right? He's not in the same category as like Greg Maddux.
No.
That's what I mean. Like Greg Maddux should get like, you should almost do it like recruiting rankings. He's a 5-star Hall of Famer.
I like that.
I'm just saying, like
that would make it easier to differentiate between people.
Yeah, and you could have, I think you would get a much better picture of the history of the game, which that's the point, right? That's the point of a Hall of Fame, is to encapsulate the history of your game. If you don't rank the Hall of Famers, you're like, okay, so Antoine Jameson and Michael Jordan are in the same hall and we're good here. Both went to North Carolina, both in the Hall of Fame. Here we go. Like, what are we doing? There's no rule you can't revamp the Hall of Fame.
Josh, is Tom Cruise going to have a front row seat?
Ooh.
The Oscars.
Ooh, front row seat? No, because he's not going to win.
You don't think so at all? You've already counted him out?
No.
So what did he get nominated for personally?
He's a producer on Top Gun Maverick, and it got Best Picture nomination. That's the winner that award goes to the producers.
So that one's going to go to what? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, probably?
I think so.
That's the front runner?
I would call it the gambling favorite, yes.
So, but Top Gun Maverick will win for something, right? Visual effects, something like that?
something like that. Maybe the Lady Gaga song.
Okay, at the end?
Yeah.
Okay. So it'll win for something. You just don't, Tom Cruise as accepting Best Picture, probably not going to get it.
Probably not.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah. I think that's more of a ploy to like get people to watch the show, which I have takes on that I'll get to later.
I mean, to be fair though, I know you're a big movie nut.
Uh-huh.
I almost said nerd, but that sounds disparaging.
Fine. Not offensive.
I'm a movie nut as well, but not in the same. Yeah, I'm like a 3-star movie nut. He's a 5-star movie nut. Okay, we're just gonna start ranking everything.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick was one of the best movies of the year.
It was my number one.
That's what I mean. Like, it deserves a nomination.
Yeah. But I would also at the very same time not, if I had to vote for Best Picture, I would not vote it for Best Picture, even though it's my favorite movie of last year.
Sure, but that's what I mean. Deserves a nomination.
Yeah.
Does not deserve to probably win. See, we could do the rating thing with everything. Like, there's some Best Picture winners that are better than others, right?
Oh, yes.
What won it in '94? Well, who ended up, because that's the Shawshank.
Oh, Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
That's
Goodfellas.
Yeah. 94 was loaded.
So like 94 is a 5-star Best Picture year, right? And then whatever, like The Pianist year is like a 2-star Best Picture. Pianist didn't win Best Picture.
Last year we had a streaming service win Best Picture.
It was Forrest Gump, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Pulp Fiction, Quiz Show. Remember that one?
Nope.
And The Shawshank Redemption.
So you've got like 3 all-timers, right?
Yeah.
And then I think 4 Weddings and a Funeral is very well regarded.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's in the same category. So whoever comes out of that one, that's a 5-star Best Picture. We need to rank everything. Let's revamp the whole system.
I like this idea. This could take off. Do you think in a normal year where more pictures are being released, Josh, that Top Gun wouldn't even have a chance? But it was released at the right time and it made so much money. And it basically was the only movie anybody was talking about for an extended period of time that it almost you had to include it.
I think where the industry is at.
Sure. Yeah.
They would do right by the people who fund them, like the moviegoers, to celebrate Top Gun Maverick in some way. And this is probably that way.
So that's why I think a big part of the Oscars where people get disconnected is because a lot of times people want to see their favorite things celebrated.
Yep.
And for a good stretch there, I want to say, like, especially into like the mid 2000s, it felt like there was this huge gap between what the population celebrated and what the critics and whatever the Academy was celebrating. And so I think there needs to be a little, listen, you can celebrate the artsy fartsy stuff. I'm okay with that. But you also have to acknowledge there is a value in literally everyone who saw the movie loved that movie. That has to matter at some point, right? Whereas, okay, the 12 people that saw Moonlight were like, yes, great film.
Moonlight is a great film.
But only 12 people saw it. At least before, like, I bet a bunch more people saw it after.
Once it got nominated.
Right, once it got nominated and won. But before it won, people were like, I'm sorry, what movie was that? Did I miss that one? Oh, it was released in 4 theaters in Nova Scotia?
Hey, we live in a world where Top Gun, that concept could win, and the kid from Goonies is going to win a lot.
As well he should. Did you see his speeches at all at the what was it?
Well, so he's had
Golden Globes and the
Critics' Choice, yes.
Yeah. I very moving, I thought. Like I was very,
but I couldn't get that's the kid from the Goonies that I went to the movie to watch, and now all of a sudden he's grown up.
See, to me, he's always the kid from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not know until he accepted his Golden Globe
that he was also in the Goonies,
that he was short round from Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And I had seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I had no clue that was short
I always
round.
want to call him Hot Round for some reason. I know that's not it.
Well, so
that's what the ladies call him.
So you think about like childhood actors, like that movie that he was in. And I mean, some of those actors they did not age well in their life, kind of, it went through that stretch of childhood actors that they ended up in rehab and it was bad. But his is kind of interesting that a childhood actor that got acclaim for being in Goonies and Indiana Jones later in life, like kind of returns and he's back at the top of the mountain in the movie industry. That's so rare.
And it's weird because he worked in the industry the entire time. He was just all behind camera. I think he was like a stunt coordinator for the last 30 years, basically, and was working regularly. And then all of a sudden he's back in front of the camera again. It's just a really cool story. Because, and if people don't know it, basically he sort of stopped trying to get acting roles because he didn't think there was a place for him as an actor. But he still loved movies, went behind the scenes. And then all of a sudden he's getting nominated in what likely is going to be the best picture of the year. But yeah, I mean, those are the things that I feel like the Academy Awards and they have to celebrate those things, right? To make that's the part. If you're gonna give an award to movies that maybe people have not seen or even heard of, which that's not the case with this movie, but you kind of have to celebrate the stories behind it too. And I feel like sports does a really good job of that, where they celebrate the stories of the people involved to kind of get you invested. And the movie industry has not done as good of a job of that with the actual actors. They try and get you invested in characters, but if you're invested in actors too, and Josh, tell me if I'm wrong here, but if you're invested in an actor, you'll go see everything they put out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And so like if you're invested, like I understand that The Rock puts out terrible movies. I will go see every movie The Rock puts out.
Yeah.
Because I'm invested in him as a person. I like him as a person, so I will support the things he does, right? And there's people that are better actors than that, obviously, and put out better movies than that. That if you got invested in who they were as people, then you'd go see everything they make.
Like, and usually when he makes something, it's really good. But Tom Hanks, any picture that Tom Hanks puts out, I'm probably there in the first weekend.
Absolutely, and there's some people that you just connect to with like that. But in the movie industry, it seems very few and far between because they don't do a very good job of trying to make you connect with the actor story the way they try and get you to connect with the character story.
If they did a 5-minute piece on this actor who was in Encino Man in 1992 and then nothing for 30 years and gets nominated for an Academy Award, I think a lot of people would lock into that.
Would you go see a Corey Feldman movie?
Ooh.
Speaking of the Goonies, played Mouth.
No, I would not.
I'm going to pass there.
If the movie looked good, yes, but I would not go, ooh, Corey Feldman movie, I'm in.
Yeah, I wouldn't go for him, but he wouldn't keep me from seeing a movie I wanted to see.
Like, when he appeared in that movie, like, his career was supposed to take off.
Yeah, he was supposed to be...
I was saying he was like the next next guy, right? Or the next kid. Yeah. It's shockingly rare how many child actors and actresses actually make it long term. even
in this day and age.
Even the ones that don't end up in rehab or unfortunately worse in a lot of cases, they usually don't. I mean, have you read the story about Goldberg?
Yes.
Oh, from the Mighty Ducks?
Yeah.
Not the wrestler?
No. Yeah, not the wrestler. the kid from the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
He's been in rehab for like 20 years and brutal.
There's that mug shot of him from, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago where his face is all sunken.
It went viral and saved his life, basically.
Yeah, he turned it around. I don't know how he's doing today, but I knew he had a good stretch of sobriety after that mug shot.
At the time of the article, it helped him out. So, yeah, I mean, being a child actor, not all it's cracked up to be. I mean, the fact that like Drew Barrymore is alive and productive is an upset.
Yeah.
Yes. So the girl from Poltergeist, she died.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the whole stretch of Different Strokes? I mean, Todd Bridges is the only one that's still alive.
Yeah, he's the most successful.
And
by being alive still.
Yeah.
I guess Gary Coleman probably had more success, but he's no longer with us.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough out there, man. Like, I don't know if it's, especially now, I think it's gotten worse and worse to how you can actually handle in any sort of healthy way being famous at that age.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much of it, right? Like when you were, I don't know, like even 20 years ago, which we're talking about that time frame with a lot of these people 20, 30 years ago, but at least you had a chance of sort of like sheltering your life a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's all gone.
Yeah.
If you get into anything famous, you are done.
That's why back in the days when all of our parents were going to movies and you'd have childhood actors, they would grow on the screen.
Yeah.
And they'd go from being this little darling 5-year-old to 20 years later, and they're a headliner.
Yeah.
And they're making movies all the way through.
Yep.
Yeah.
That doesn't really happen anymore.
No.
It's a tough hang. I'm just glad all the people from Harry Potter are still alive.
I think they're going to be good.
I hope so.
Well, the older ones have
died. Well, right. Yeah. But that's natural causes.
Yes.
I mean, Daniel Radcliffe had a tough go of it there for a bit. He had some substance issues.
Yeah.
And now he just does whatever the hell he wants.
Which good on you.
Weird Al biopic? I mean,
isn't that kind of the point though? Isn't that kind of the point of like having all your money set up before you're 18? It's like now I can do whatever you want. Like Rupert Grint just went out and bought an ice cream truck and was like, this is my life now. I just drive around an ice cream truck.
And then when you go up to his ice cream shop, you go, aren't you? Yeah, I am. What do you want?
He doesn't even keep ice cream in it. He just drives around an ice cream truck and he likes the music.
He just likes the song?
He does.
That's when life is pretty good and it's easy.
That's what I mean.
You have no worries.
That's what I mean. And surprise, surprise, Emma Watson is a humanitarian because she was the smartest one in the movies and smartest one in real life too. She's like, I'm going to stop acting for a while and just try and save the planet. And Rupert Grint's like, I'm going to drive around an ice cream truck. That's very Ron Weasley of him.
Have a good show.
All righty. Thank you very much, Gary.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. Previously on the crossover.
Why is Chad on? Where is One Shining Moment? I don't watch this piece of crap. It just went to Chad.
They might have snuck in some Chad before One Shining Moment.
I think they did. And I was enraged because I'm waiting for One Shining Moment, and yet I'm exposed to Chad.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A seasonal January day ahead for Tuesday. Watch out for areas of patchy fog in the morning, mainly north of the metro. Although I'd expect a few peaks of sunshine early, then clouding over for the afternoon. Highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp, voice of Omaha men's basketball. The Mavericks continue their road trip coming up on Thursday night when they travel to Kansas City to take on the Roos. 6:30 airtime on News Talk 1290 Coil. Tip-off is 7 o'clock for Kansas City and Omaha.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Are you looking for tickets for the next big event? Be sure to check out my friends at ticketsforless.com. They're going to take care of you all of the best seats to the biggest local events, and they've also got great seats to events nationwide. Now, the one thing with ticketsforless.com that I love is they never charge per ticket fees. And you know what? With that, you can save hundreds of dollars over other resale websites. You can lock in a special discount right now when you use the special code THEZONE at checkout at ticketsforless.com. Simply enter the code THEZONE at checkout, and you're going to earn an exclusive listener discount. Memories for Life start at ticketsforless.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome in to the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula in for Connor Happer. He is out today. He's got a fever. And the only cure is listening to me on the radio, apparently. That's why he called. So we're here. Josh Otson here as always. Josh, how are you today?
I'm all right. How are you, Ravi?
I'm doing good. I haven't been here in a while. Doing your show, at least.
Yeah.
It's been a couple months.
You have been missed.
Thank you. It's always nice to be missed and appreciated. But we're back. We're here. We're ready to go. Got a good show today. We've got...
I only book the good guests for when Connor's gone.
I appreciate that because I need them. We've got Allan Bell from Sportsline coming up at 11:30. We've got David, is it Skretta?
Pretty sure, yeah.
All right, we're gonna go with Skretta, but we'll ask him when we call him just to make sure. Don't mispronouncing people's names there. Don't want to be disrespectful. He is the AP writer that covers the Kansas City Chiefs. How's my Mitch Holtis? Was that okay?
Needs some work.
Needs some work? Okay.
But you're not Mitch Holtis.
I'm not Mitch Holtis, as many people are saying. I'm not Mitch Holtis. Coming up at noon, because we're an equal opportunity station here, we've got Charles Goldsmith of the Cincy Enquirer to talk about the Bengals. And is Joe Burrow the greatest quarterback of all time? Hard to tell. I'm just kidding. But we will talk to Charles Goldsmith of the Cincy Enquirer. Of course, we will have odd news. We'll have the top 5. And we'll wrap up the show with what to watch. Josh, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I haven't looked at the Oscar nominations yet.
Okay.
I was kind of waiting for I wanted to be with you.
Wow, what an honor.
And I assumed, you don't always tell me the top 5, but I assumed we were going to do an Oscar-related top 5, as we are.
The people expect it.
I think they do. You've got a brand to protect.
That's right.
And so I figured, you know what? I'm going to wait so that when you give me the takeaways, I can be surprised in real time.
Oh, okay.
So we'll do that. We'll talk about some movies at 12:30 when Josh does his top 5. Also, we got a lot of football to get to today. A lot of football. I'm going to be honest with you, people. I don't have a single basketball segment planned.
Whoa, upset.
Breaking news. I do not have a single basketball segment planned. It's all football today.
That was plus 750.
I'm
going in and it hit.
I'm a big football guy.
It's a rivalry night in the NBA, though.
Listen, it's a regular season in the NBA. We're in NFL playoff time. It's conference championship week.
It's dollar beer night tomorrow at the CHI.
It is dollar beer night, and your boy is on the call.
That's right.
So make sure you get out there. But
throw away your TV. You don't need it.
I mean, you don't have to be like one of those weird Cowboys fans.
I'm tired of that bit.
I think it's dumb. First of all, I don't believe you. I think these are pre-broken TVs that we're just destroying for the clout on the internet.
It's your fifth or sixth TV in the house. It's not your main TV.
I'm not even saying that. I think it is a TV that is already broken down that they just haven't gotten rid of yet.
Oh, okay.
Because not everybody, a lot of people have that TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
It stops working. You're like, I'm going to get it fixed. And you just put it back in the garage somewhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't get fixed.
Never does.
I once moved into a rental house that had like a 50-inch, which at the time was a very large TV, just in the garage. It didn't work. They left it there, though, after moving.
Sure.
Because I'm sure whoever lived there was like, we're going to get this fixed. No, you're not. So instead of lying to themselves, they just do this. They do their best Skip Bayless impression and I saw a guy run over a TV with his truck.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting take on the bit.
I'll give creativity for it at least. I'm going to, spoiler alert, the TV didn't crush the way I thought it would. It kind of like shot out, like the innards shot out from the screen. It was very interesting.
Okay.
I did not expect it. It's like if you squish a bug, kind of the innards squish out a little bit, but the shell kind of stays in place. It's a little bit what happened with the TV there. It was strange.
Also, major LDE coming when you punch that TV.
It's not a good move.
Look it up.
It took me a second, and I was like, I know the opposite of what, but I figured it out.
Yeah.
So, have you ever come close to physically harming, not someone, but have you ever come close to vandalizing your own stuff because of how mad you were at a game?
Nothing comes to mind. No.
The closest that I came is I threw my keys on the ground once, but a keychain did break off and hit somebody in the head. Totally unintentional. But I did throw my keys on the ground. So I was 17 though. These appear to be grown men.
Yeah.
These are adults. And they should know better, frankly. Especially as Cowboys fans, they should know better because much like Thanos, this was inevitable. I hope Josh Peterson isn't listening. We had a nice text exchange to make sure we were still good.
Okay. Kept it classy.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not, with my friends especially, I'm not a big trash talker. People probably are surprised to find out this about me. I don't like being mean about sports. I like celebrating my team's achievements, but I don't need you to feel bad in order for me to feel good. Like if the Titans and the 49ers were playing in the Super Bowl.
It almost happened. Remember that time the Titans made the AFC Championship and the Niners made the NFC Championship? And then I don't remember who made the Super Bowl that year. Probably the Chiefs and the Niners.
Was that the Chiefs-Niners year?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. That did almost happen. We didn't know each other at the time.
No, we didn't.
But I wouldn't have felt the need to poo-poo the Titans just to make myself feel good. That's actually something I really don't understand at all. Not just the psychology of it between like friends, but if I beat a team, I want to believe that team was as good as possible because then it makes my accomplishment look better, right?
Absolutely.
I don't understand, like, if you're playing somebody at home, right, and they're ranked higher than you and you upset them and the fans start chanting overrated. It's like, no, you were properly rated. We are underrated. I don't want people to think they're over it. It's like, this was the thing. I wasn't going to talk about basketball. This is your fault. this with the Creighton-Nebraska game this year, right? And obviously Creighton has not played the level of basketball that they were early in the season or that they were expected to play. I understand that. But at the time that Nebraska beat them, that still seemed like who they were, right? They still seemed like a top 10, top 15-ish team. And Nebraska fans were like, oh, man, Creighton must really be terrible. And it's like, is that, if I'm a Nebraska fan, my logic doesn't go to how bad are you guys that we beat you?
Right.
My logic is like, oh, maybe we're good this year.
Exactly.
And they're not. They're 10-10, which they're better than I thought they'd be. And play much more functional basketball. I'm not here to crap on Nebraska basketball. That's not the point of this. I just don't understand the logic of if we beat you, you must be terrible. I feel like there's a inferiority complex there that.
Yeah, no, don't sell yourself short like that.
Just like maybe go see a therapist just for a couple sessions. Just be like, hey, is this something that's seeping deeper into my life?
You're special. You're good enough.
Do I do this with my real life relationships? Am I self-sabotaging because I don't believe anybody could love me? Is that what's happening here?
Maybe.
Did I get too deep in the first segment? My bad.
No.
We've got a lot of football to talk to today. We've got transfer portal talk. We got some portal talk, Josh.
Love a good portal talk.
Nebraska's been active.
Very.
They have been active in the portal. They've been active everywhere. There's going to be a lot of new guys on the team next year, Josh.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Because you're not kicking them out in spring ball. That's not where your attrition's coming.
No, the attrition is not coming from the new guys.
No.
I don't even know if that's legal. We're talking about, okay, I was going to get into this later. We'll do it now. We're looking at about, I think we're going to be ended up looking at about half of the roster. Wow. So you got 85 scholarships, right? Right now, they're at 36 new players. They have 25 high school guys signed or committed. They had 2 guys commit yesterday that hadn't signed yet, but we assume they're going to. Plus 11 transfers. That puts us at 36. To get to basically half, you only need 6 more. And we haven't hit the late signing day yet. That's in a week. And I would expect there to be more there. And we haven't hit the spring transfer portal window yet, which is May 1st through the 15th, I believe, this year, after spring ball. You're telling me it's crazy they get 6 more new guys? Because that seems pretty reasonable. Between transfers and high school recruits, I think we are legitimately looking at half new scholarship players next year. 42. I mean, I think we're going to get to 40 easy. But we're looking at like 42 plus scholarship turnover. And I'm going to be honest, it's a little scary.
I got to turn my mic on. In an hour, this Demetrius Bell guy is.
That's what I mean. We could be at 37.
Making his, yeah.
We could be at 37 before lunch. Demetrius Bell, 4-star receiver, I believe, out of Tennessee.
Yeah. A lot of the guys who just committed are doing the thing where they're like, come on home. And
yeah,
that usually means
there's a lot of peer recruiting involved, which is nice. I like peer recruiting. I also have a little bit of I'm going to be honest, I have a little bit of I don't want to call it a conspiracy theory. I have a little bit of a theory, though. Ooh. Do we have time? Should we do it now? What are we looking at break-wise here, Josh?
You're free to roam about the cabin.
Okay. I'm not going to because I'm afraid of flying, but I like to keep strapped in when I'm in a seat there. Also, I have to Xanax up a little bit, so I'm probably asleep.
Okay.
If I'm on a plane. Just a little spoiler alert about Ravi there. That's why I have to fly with a friend. Otherwise, I don't know when to get off the plane. It's funny because it's true. Anyway, I have a little theory here. We've had a lot of wide receiver commitments, Josh.
Sure have.
A lot of wide receiver commitments. What do wide receivers like?
Themselves?
Besides themselves.
Oh.
What makes themselves look better?
Quarterback play? Solid quarterback play?
Quarterback play.
Uh-huh.
What do we know about a certain quarterback that has connections to the University of Nebraska with a famous last name.
Oh.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of wide receivers in this class to have Jeff Sims throw him the ball. I don't know if all these guys are, I mean, maybe it's the Brock Purdy effect. They're like, if Brock can do this, what can Chuba do? They're signing up to get passes slung to them by Chuba. Or maybe just spitballing here. Maybe they know something we don't know.
I like your theory.
Maybe they know something we don't know about the future of the quarterback position at the University of Nebraska.
We'll ask that person that you're talking about. We'll ask his father on this very show in 2 weeks.
What?
Big announcement. Just dropped it in your lap there.
Boom. There will be a Raiola on the show in 2 weeks. There we go. Love to hear it. You going to ask the hard-hitting questions?
Yeah, we're going to ask him if the Lions are back.
Where do you stand on Dan Campbell, my guy?
He strikes me as a Man Campbell guy, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Either that or I don't know. I always get a weird... Dan Campbell seems like he'd be a great college coach.
Oh, for sure.
I think he's a weird fit in the NFL.
I think so, too. There's a little too much rah-rah.
Yes. There's a little too first go-around of Pete Carroll in Dan Campbell for him to, I think, be long for the NFL world. Although he's done a nice job. He's done a nice job this year with the Lions. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of wide receivers. Now, a couple of the transfer guys are only going to be here for a year in Fleeks and Kemp. But you've got a plethora of wide receivers in the class coming in. And listen, I'm just saying, we've got a lot of pass catchers. Maybe they're really excited about Jeff Sims. Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe they know something. Just something to think about.
We just had Matt call in. He's working hard. He didn't have time to hang on, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
he said, he's being wooed by Georgia.
Yeah.
They're driving hard to the hoop. But there's a lot of Georgia guys that have decided to come to Lincoln lately.
A lot of Georgia guys.
Could you be telling him something?
Maybe okay. Maybe a little. Hey, Georgia's not all it's cracked up to be.
People leaving left and right.
Man, what's
to come
this?
here?
What's
I don't know
this
what that's
all
about.
I don't know. Here's the other thing that you got to think about with Georgia is their quarterback room is pretty crowded.
Sure.
I'm not saying that Dylan Raiola couldn't beat him out, because if he's the prospect that we think he is, then he probably can. But we've seen this before, right? I mean, we talked about our guy Joe Burrow, Joe Swaggy a minute ago. Obviously, he was the best quarterback in the room at Ohio State. I mean, JT Barrett had a nice college career. Dwayne Haskins had a nice college career. Both of them kind of flamed out in the NFL. I don't even know if JT Barrett got a shot in the NFL. He wasn't drafted as high as Haskins was. And then you had Joe Burrow, odd man out. I think he overlapped with Cardale Jones for a hot minute too.
Didn't come here to play school.
Did not come here to play school. Did not go to the NFL to play football either, apparently.
JT Barrett, Steelers in 19 and 20.
You got a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah, and then the Edmonton Elks this year. Doesn't look like he played for them.
So, Joe Burrow was the best quarterback in that room. We saw it at LSU. This isn't just like he blossomed out of nowhere. We saw it at LSU. He had the best season a quarterback has ever had. Off the top of your head, how many touchdown passes did Joe Burrow throw in his senior year at LSU? Because it's a lot.
This year at LSU?
Last year at LSU.
45.
It's so many more than you think it is.
55.
More than you think it is.
Oh my gosh. More than 55?
He threw 60 touchdown passes as a senior. That's 2 good seasons worth.
That's not fair.
No, and I think he had like 4 picks. Joe Burrow was by far the best quarterback in that room. Like, not even close. That's the real number, right? You're looking it up?
I was looking up how many Casey threw.
Oh.
17.
Joe Burrow was by far the best quarterback in that room. So being the best guy in the room doesn't always equal playing time there.
60 and 6 picks.
That's a 10-to-1 ratio. He also casually, I believe, threw for 5,000 yards in a college season.
5,600.
What the? What?
10.8 yards.
The numbers don't even sound real. I get that he played 15 games, and I don't care. That's so many. So, like, that's the risk you run when you go into a crowded quarterback room.
60 divided by 15 is 4. He averaged 4 touchdowns a game.
He averaged 4 touchdowns a game and a third of an interception. Those are good numbers.
He also ran for 5 that year.
Just for funsies. Just cuz. He was like if he didn't get pulled in some of those blowouts, he'd have thrown for 6,000 yards. He would have thrown for 6,000 yards and 60 touchdowns. Timmy Chang at Hawaii would have been envious of those numbers.
Oh,
you like that poll, didn't you?
I do.
You like
those old Hawaii games were something special.
Oh man, like 11 o'clock on a Saturday night watching Timmy Chang just sling it.
Yep.
Loved it.
We are here to play arena football on grass.
He would have been envious of those numbers. So that's the concern about going into. I'm not just bringing up Timmy Chang for funsies, although a little bit. That's the danger you run into with going into a crowded quarterback room. Is the coaches don't always get it right. They don't always get it right, especially when it's close. I'm not saying JT Barrett was bad, especially in college. I'm not saying Dwayne Haskins was bad, especially in college. They were not Joe freaking Burrow. No one ever has been. Literally no one ever has been. Those are unprecedented numbers in college football.
Let me interrupt you here. Greg and Lincoln makes a great point. We are at this point in the conversation obligated to say, did you know Joe Burrow wanted to go to Nebraska?
Oh!
And they just kind of whiffed on him because they had their guy.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
That's news to me.
Okay.
Did not know. That's that's a tough look for whoever might have been coaching at Nebraska at the time.
Because the exact same thing would have happened.
Yeah, let's be honest. If Joe Burrow comes to Nebraska, he turns into Adrian Martinez. In all likelihood. Maybe like slightly better. Because it's Joe Burrow and not Adrian Martinez.
And then the Bills are in the AFC Championship game.
Thank God we don't have to deal with that. Am I right?
Whoa, you were out on the Bills?
I'm in on Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Which I want to talk about this when we come back here. Joe Burrow should be super unlikable, and he's not, and I don't know why. We'll get to that and more coming up. Do we want to get to Allan Bell right now?
Yeah, we'll take a break and we'll go to Allan.
All right, we'll get to Allan Bell first, and then we'll talk about why don't we hate Joe Burrow. Right here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
O'Reilly. Don't risk getting stranded with a bad battery. Our professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery does need to be replaced, we'll help you find the best battery for your vehicle and your budget. Don't wait until your battery is dead. Get it tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Nick Handley here for my friends at DJ's Dugout. There's so much going on in sports now. Pro football playoffs, college and pro basketball, college and pro hockey, and more. DJ's Dugout is an Omaha tradition to gather with family and friends to cheer for your team. Great food and tall beers, too. Man, love me some of those. Voted Omaha's #1 sports bar and my favorite, too. 7 metro area locations. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
As a veteran, you get a lot of advice. But wisdom's harder to come by. A lot of people imagine themselves in our shoes without understanding the weight on our shoulders. The truth is, few can understand the pressure of finding your own way after serving in the military. But few isn't none. You've got support. You can't control the chaos, but you can chart your way through it. Steady yourself. Take a breath. You're not alone. Learn more at maketheconnection.net.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism can affect any family. Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Mike Rowe here with a gentle reminder that civilization is held together by pipes, wires, and cables. It's true. There are over 5 million miles of gas lines, power lines, fiber optic lines, water lines, and sewer lines, all buried beneath your feet. And every 60 seconds, somebody digs into one. Look, if you're thinking about digging around, do yourself a favor and call 811 first just to find out what's down there. Trust me, you don't want to find out the hard way. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit safeexcavator.com for more info.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the After Hours Lounge on 1620 The Zone.
The head Maverick, Chris Crutchfield, is going to join us.
I was so happy with those guys because they hadn't won a road game in almost 2 years. I'm proud of what our guys did. We continued to fight throughout the game. It was a 2-possession game. And that's the biggest thing with our guys right now, just continue to compete.
Catch After Hours 6 to 8, Monday through Friday, or as the sports schedule allows. Brought to you by Payne West on 1620 The Zone.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula, your host. Josh Otson producing. Happer's out today. We are efforting Allan Bell of Sportsline. We'll get to him as soon as we can. But wanted to let you know, there's a plethora of ways you can get in touch with the show today. on the. Do we have a hot? Where's our Les Hills? Are we still Les Hills?
We're no longer affiliated with Les Hills, even though they're fine people over there.
Okay, so we just have the Ravi Lula hotline.
Ooh.
402-951-1620. That is not my personal cell phone number.
Okay.
That's the station number.
You're here a lot, but that's not your cell.
You can text it.
True.
You can
People
text
forget.
it. You can text that. You can call it. You can get in touch with the show that way. Also, the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed at R.A. Lula. That's R-A-L-U-L-L-A. Or at Happer Show. You can get in touch with him there. Also have the email box. Remind me here. What am I missing? The inbox. Equitable Bank?
Yeah.
There we go. Equitable
They
Bank.
take banking personally.
They do take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com. Sorry, somebody took the sign down. I forgot. There's no Equitable sign over there anymore.
Okay.
So, for the poorly fill-ins who don't have it memorized anymore, got to help us out a little bit here.
Yeah, that's bad producing on my part. I apologize.
No, that's
Ravi.
okay. That's okay. I would never put that on you.
Okay.
You can get in touch with Josh. Josh, you want to give him the email address?
Josh O at 1620thezone.com.
And you have to spell it like he said it. Josh O.
Yeah.
I don't know how you spell that, but it's literally just Josho.
That is correct.
That's all. I was just being dramatic here. But that's how you can get in touch with the show. Would love to hear from you. Before the break, we were talking about Joe Burrow and how he's a little bit ridiculous in terms of the numbers he's been putting up that he put up at LSU, and then how good he's been in Cincinnati so far. And I think I took Josh a little bit by surprise here by saying that I was rooting for Cincinnati over Buffalo on Sunday. And I think it just came down to I really like Joe Burrow. And I don't know why.
Was it that pregame video where he's throwing dimes with his eyes closed in the snow?
It was a pretty cool pregame video. My love for Joe Burrow predates that, however. I feel like he gives off a lot of vibes of somebody that I would hate. Like there's a lot of what's a delicate way I can put this on radio?
There's a smugness to it.
Smug is yeah. I was gonna say F-boy vibes.
Okay.
Is that accurate?
I see what you're saying there. Yeah.
You see where
for sure.
See where I'm getting that from?
For sure.
And generally, that is not the type of person that I would necessarily want to hang out with or be friends with.
Correct.
Or root for at all. That being said, I love Joe Burrow. And I don't know if it's because it seems genuine. Like the confidence. Here's the problem with people who fall under that. We'll go with Josh's term, the smugness stereotype, right? It feels like an act. It doesn't feel genuine. Joe Burrow, I think, is 100% the person that he appears to be. And I think I value his authenticity more than I would potentially dislike his smugness. I also like the cigar vibes. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a big cigar guy. I don't know if people know this about me. I saw Michael Jordan smoke a cigar when I was like 10. And I was like, that's going to be a thing I do when I grow up.
You gifted me one when the Warriors beat the Celtics.
I did last year at the College World Series.
Because you are not a jerk fan. You're a statesman-like winner.
I didn't say a word about the Celtics.
No.
I just said my Warriors won. Here are cigars.
And yep.
I enjoy a cigar. So I think the fact that Joe Burrow appears to enjoy cigars and appreciate the vibe and spirit that you should embody while smoking a cigar is really important to me. I think that is a big factor here, if I'm being honest. Probably a bigger factor than it should be. But I think the biggest factor is I think this is who he really is. And I appreciate his confidence to be 100% himself. That means a lot to me. I like people that are real. There's like a tiny bit of, and not in their exact personality. Not in their exact personality, but I get a similar vibe. And Josh, tell me if I'm crazy here. There's like a tiny bit of PJ Fleck there.
In Joe Burrow's get down?
In his should be the most annoying person on the planet, but is apparently beloved. Because if PJ Fleck was fake about who he is, he would never have that locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they play, he must, right?
Okay.
I cannot imagine a way in which that team did not believe in him, in which they play the way they do. Is that fair?
I see your trajectory.
I feel the same way about Joe Burrow. They're different personalities, but they're both personalities that if they were fake, you would freaking hate that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But because that's who they really are, I think people buy into it.
Tell me if you agree with Matt, who emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox. Joe Burrow, similar to Joe Namath. America doesn't like cocky guys, but when it is authentic and done with a smile, it can work.
Yes, except for he's way better than Joe Namath.
Well, sure.
Joe Namath, sneaky average quarterback.
Joe Namath won a Super Bowl, though.
Allegedly.
You know what? I guess I didn't see it, so you're okay.
No, I don't know. Does anything before like the 80s even count? I know that it technically does, but I think we need to like separate modern era from,
I think we are at the point in the NFL where we do need to
like that was pre-merger.
Yeah, there's merger,
right?
There's merger, and then there's like Super Bowl era is what they call it now.
But we need like pre-merger, post-merger, modern era. Like we need like pre-merger, Super Bowl era, modern era. Because we're not even in the realm of Joe Namath type of football. Like we're not even in that neighborhood anymore. Okay, I do, and this isn't just a football thing. I do the same thing with basketball. You have to separate into eras. So that's why, like, and you're not gonna like this, but when people throw the 11 rings thing in my face about Bill Russell, there were like, there were like 12 teams.
I think there were less than that even.
There might have been
at
like
one point
8. At the when ring number 1 was earned, there were like 8 teams. I think when he was done, there was like 14. So we're talking half of the league here.
Wow, did you know the Colts threw 4 interceptions in Super Bowl 3?
I'm surprised they threw 4 passes.
Johnny Unitas went 11 of 24. Joe Namath went 17 of 28 for 206 yards.
Barn burner. 11 for 24. Johnny U, who some people try and put in the same conversation as Tom Brady and Joe Montana. No, sir. It's a different deal. It is a different deal.
We're learning a lot today on the show.
Listen, I'm not trying to disparage the old heads. What I am trying to say is that it was a different game. You have to just make the distinction, okay? It's like the Babe Ruth thing. You have to make a distinction there. It's not the same. It is not the same. Like Aaron Judge hitting 60 home runs today is way harder than Babe Ruth hitting 60 home runs 100 years ago. It's a different deal. No one threw 99 miles an hour in 1900 Everyone does now. And there's like 4 of them, 4 different guys you have to face a game. Way harder. Not even in the same ballpark here. So you have to like just take some of these old heads with a grain of salt. With all due respect. You can't just say with all due respect and say whatever you want. I said with all due respect. Little Talladega Nights there for you. But I think that's what it is. I think it's the authenticity. Joe Namath maybe should have been authentically somebody a little bit different, as we learned in later years, particularly on sideline reports. But he was who he was. I think that's why we like Joe Burrow. He is who he is. Now, the real question is, and I don't think we're going to get Allan today. It doesn't appear that way.
Doesn't look like this happened 2 weeks ago.
That's okay. I'm just going to interview you, Josh, as if you're Allan.
Okay. I'm a Titans fan. Allan is based in Nashville. I think this will work seamlessly.
Just channel it. Just kind of get in that mindset.
Overs. Take all the overs.
I do love an over. No, actually, one of the things that I was going to ask him, I'm kind of surprised Cincinnati's a road favorite in Kansas City.
Connor asked me yesterday, he said, hey, Josh, the Chiefs are like a 2-point favorite. Is that line going to flip? And I'm like, no. Why would that line flip? Mahomes is going to play, and they're going to guard him, like the Hope Diamond all week, and it'll be fine. And boom, 24 hours late, less than 24 hours later, that line flipped, and the Bengals are the favorite.
It did, in fact, flip. They are currently 2-point favorites in Kansas City. So I don't know if that tells us something about Patrick Mahomes' status. I don't know if that's... And that's kind of the boogeyman hanging over this whole game, right? Is how healthy is Patrick Mahomes going to be? And
got that built-in excuse, Chiefs fans.
Well, they might need it because Joe Burrow's 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes all time. And, you got to have something that makes you be able to sleep at night thinking you still have the best quarterback in the AFC. If you're here, that's my real question, though. Patrick Mahomes is better than Joe Burrow, right?
Oh, yeah.
The hesitation is very telling, first of all.
But, yeah, I think the answer is yes.
Would you rather have Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, though?
Oh,
see,
I'm sorry, my silence is terrible for radio.
No, but that's the point. That's the point. Because I think most people would agree. If you push me on it, I think Mahomes is better. He's more talented for sure. Like physically, he is more gifted.
Yeah,
and he's put up. There's nothing about Patrick. This is not an indictment on Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is awesome. But if you put me to it, like if I've got one drive, let's say, what was it? Not to put out 49er Super Bowl vibes into the universe, but what's the 49ers drive against Cincinnati in the Super Bowl, like 90 yards to win the game?
Mm-hmm.
You put one guy in that spot. I know
there's John Candy.
Yeah, exactly. I know that Patrick Mahomes did the 17 seconds thing last year to get the field goal. Is there anybody you trust more than Joe Burrow in that situation?
I mean, I'm probably going to take Mahomes.
Okay.
But I mean, it's, oh no, you're stuck with the other guy. Like, oh no, you'll be fine.
Isn't it crazy that we can even have this conversation, though?
I was going to do who threw fewer interceptions this year, and they both threw 12.
That's exact same number. Exact same number. Now, Joe Burrow is literally the most accurate passer in the history of football currently. I believe that's correct. If he retired today, he would have the highest completion percentage of all time.
68.2 for his career.
I believe that is correct. I think there's a pass attempts threshold there, but I believe that's correct. But like Josh Allen's not even in the conversation with those two, right?
Not after this year.
Like it's some order of Mahomes and Burrow and then everybody else.
Yeah.
And
no offense to Brock Purdy.
we're gonna
undefeated. I know
we're gonna get to Brock Purdy. If you don't think we're gonna get to Brock Purdy, you got another thing coming. But we'll stick with the AFC for now because this is where I was gonna go with Allan. What is there another quarterback in the AFC besides the two guys that are going to play on Sunday that you would even put in that conversation? Because Herbert's certainly not.
Lamar can't stay healthy.
Even if he was, you're going 90 yards for the Super Bowl with Lamar?
Not with that cast of characters around him.
Well, even like I don't want to be this guy. Lamar's a better runner than a thrower, right? He's much improved as a thrower. He's NFL good as a thrower. His best skill set's his legs.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
In that situation, I want the guy that slings it.
His game is growing. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, and that's not an indictment. I'm not saying he can't win that way, but in a very specific situation where it's like, hey, under 2 minutes, no timeouts, I need the guy that can sling it. And also, that's going to be on the field. Like, I know Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes are going to be on the field. Is there another quarterback in the AFC that you think? I know you love your guy Tannehill.
Big Tannehill guy.
Malik Willis? No.
Josh Dobbs.
Kenny Pickett? I don't think there's another. I mean, our boy Nick would be like, give me Tua. But again, could stay on the field, please.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another quarterback in the AFC that's even in that category.
No.
And last year, we would have said probably Mahomes, Allen, and maybe Burrow. Maybe Burrow sneaks into that third. But Burrow and Allen are probably flip spots last year.
Right.
2 years ago, it was just Mahomes, I think.
Yeah.
In the AFC, because I think Tommy B had left by then. I'm not shocked that Josh Allen has fallen out, because there's a part of me that never quite believed it all the way with Josh Allen. Like, he feels like a Brett Favre to me.
I was way out on him in the draft, in the year he got drafted,
yeah.
And then like, oh, okay, they coached the reckless out of him, and
you can't all the way though.
No.
And
once a slinger, always a slinger.
That's the thing. There's a lot of Brett Favre in Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's ever going away. Like, he's just going to take chances that are going to drive you crazy. And I'd prefer not to have that. Now, you brought up my boy, Brock Purdy.
It's the guy.
So let's move over to the NFC and ask the same question, okay? You've got Jalen Hurts. You have Brock Purdy. Who do you trust more out of those two guys?
One drive for my life?
Yeah, one drive for your life.
Okay.
Well, let's say your mortgage. Let's not be super dramatic.
Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
Why am I leaning towards Brock Purdy in this scenario?
That's what I'm saying. Right? Like,
he's got multiple weapons, and
he's played 8 games. The majority of 8 games. He started 7, but he played most of the 8th. We've seen Jalen Hurts be really good at Alabama, be really good at Oklahoma, and be really good for a couple years now with the Eagles. And yet we look at Brock Purdy and what he's done, and you're like, that's the guy I trust. I thought it after like 3 games in the 49ers quarterback room, right? Because there was the discussion of, Jimmy G might be back for the playoffs. And I was like, do we want Jimmy G back for the playoffs? Do we have to? Can the doctor be like, oh, no, you can't go yet, Jimmy G. We're not ready. Because after like 3 games, I was like, I trust that guy more than Jimmy G today. And now there's been 5 more games of, yeah, I really do trust this guy. And obviously, he's not in the same category as the guys in the AFC. But I just want to give you some numbers here on Brock Purdy. Okay? This is 8 games, 7 starts, but he's played most of 8 games. He's at just under 67% completion. He's at 1,854 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Now, if we extrapolate that for a whole season, I'm basically just going to double these numbers because 16 games. That's fair, right? Say he misses one.
Sure.
Whatever. Nobody plays all 17 most of the time. We're talking about 66% completion, 3,600 passing yards, 32 touchdowns, and 6 picks. You'll take that from your quarterback pretty much always, right? Pretty much.
Jalen Hurts threw for 22 and 6.
So yeah, I will take
This
take the 10 extra.
Yeah.
I will take the 10 extra there. For comparison, and listen, I'm not doing this because I think Brock Purdy is Tom Brady. I am not saying that. But we only have one frame of reference for anything even close to what we're watching right now with Brock Purdy. And it's Tom Brady.
Because of the way he ascended to the job.
Because of the way this has happened and the level of success he's had since it happened.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Was never intended to be the guy on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback injury. For Purdy, another quarterback injury. And all of a sudden, he's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady didn't put up numbers that would equal my projected numbers for Brock Purdy until his MVP season in 2007. He didn't throw 32 touchdown passes until 2007. When he threw 50, by the way. But did not throw 32 touchdown passes until 2007. Did not complete more than 66% of his passes until 2007. That's 6 years into him being a starter.
Yeah, it looks like that first year he went 11-3, 18 touchdowns, 12 interceptions.
Like 2,800 yards?
Yeah, 2,800 yards.
62% completion?
I've got 63.9.
Okay, 63.9. So, but you look, that's very similar for the first handful of years of his career.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he tops 30 touchdown passes. Maybe he has 30 one year. He's got a lot of like 26, 28 in there.
He didn't pass 30 until 2007 when he threw 50.
Right, yeah. So that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Had double-digit interceptions every year until 2007.
Yep.
And didn't pass 66% completion percentage until 2007 when I believe he had 68.
Correct.
And BT Dub, he had prime Randy Moss on his team. Helpful.
Really wasted opportunity not having those two together longer.
But here, so that's my point here. This isn't Brock Purdy in the Tom Brady sense where Tom Brady was just like, hey, let's just keep this thing on the track, right? Let's just make the train run on time. Don't ruin it. Brock Purdy is being asked to do things in an offense where he probably doesn't need to be asked to do things, if we're being honest. They probably require less out of Brock Purdy than the Patriots needed out of Tom Brady, and yet they're getting more out of Brock Purdy than the Patriots got out of, by the way, not rookie Tom Brady, second-year Tom Brady. Tom Brady got to sit for a year, learn the system for a year before he was thrown in this position. That is not an advantage that Brock Purdy has had. So when I compare Brock Purdy to Tom Brady, I'm not saying they're going to end up with the same careers. I'm saying there is literally only one frame of reference for what Brock Purdy is doing, and it's the greatest quarterback of all time. That's a good way to start your career if you're Brock Purdy.
Yeah, that's a good comp.
Right.
I guess.
Like if you're going to have a comp, I guess. Now, the question is, because we have no idea how this thing's going to end, either this year for Brock Purdy, his career in general, or next year for the 49ers. Because, by the way, the 49ers spent a lot of draft capital for Trey Lance. And Jimmy G still exists.
Yeah.
Now, I would imagine Jimmy G moves on.
Makes sense.
Because you don't need, well, they did need three guys this year. Typically, you do not require three guys.
Titans played three quarterbacks this year, and
look where the Titans are.
Thanks for the GM, by the way.
Happy to help.
I think we'll probably take Trey Lance off your hands too, unfortunately.
Give me all the draft picks back.
Yeah. Thanks.
Is it weird that I'm like, I kind of still want to see what Trey Lance can do?
Right. There's that what's behind door number 3 sort of thing. Like,
yeah.
I haven't seen that at 100%.
It's like
for long enough.
It's the Barney Stinson, new is always better.
Uh-huh.
It's like, Trey Lance is still pretty new. I want to see what the shiny toy does. No, there's just a part of me that's like, okay, Shanahan mortgaged his draft and alienated his starter for this guy. I kind of want to see why. You know, like there's a part of me that's like this. He didn't just whiff, right? Because he found a starter with the last pick of the draft. So I find it hard to believe that he whiffed on the guy that he moved mountains to go get. Not saying it's impossible, but there's a part of me that's like, if we don't win the Super Bowl, maybe we just go back to Trey Lance. Now, the nice thing is you got Purdy and Lance under contract for nothing, basically. I mean, Lance makes first-round money, but Purdy makes no money, essentially. I think he actually has to pay a fee to play for the 49ers at this point still. They might give him his gear for free. But you don't have a Russell Wilson situation on your hands, is what I'm trying to say. You don't have an albatross contract where you're like, what are we going to do here?
It's all very movable for San Francisco.
It's either movable or keepable. You can just keep them. You can just keep them both and be like, hey, what would be really interesting is if they had a true quarterback competition going into next year. Because you don't see that basically ever in the NFL.
Right.
I guess they kind of had one with Trubisky and Pickett.
Well, yeah, it's always on a bad team, right?
It's on a bad team or with a guy that's like also bad. Like Trubisky, we know what he is. He's just a dude and he's whatever. He's going to be in the league as a backup for 10 years. But you're talking about two young quarterbacks who theoretically could both be the guy. And you're going to, I would guess, have a true quarterback competition. I don't know why you would make a decision before that. There's no reason to. So that's going to be really interesting. But I'm glad that you answered my Hurts versus Purdy question the way you did, because that's exactly where I'm at. I'm like, I know I probably should pick Hurts, but my heart tells me Purdy. And I'm glad it wasn't just a 49ers thing, because you reacted the exact way that I did when I asked myself this question.
Well, there's a little bit of the expectations. Jalen Hurts was supposed to be this or something close to this.
He was supposed to be good.
The amazement of Brock Purdy is...
Yeah, like how much of it am I just like mesmerized by what's happening?
Yeah.
And I've got a comparison here. Not to Tom Brady this time, although perhaps as ridiculous. Not quite, almost as ridiculous. The last time I felt this way, when a guy was just way better than I ever could have imagined, was when David Ortiz signed with the Red Sox. He signed in 2003, or before the 2003 season. And he had been fine, but like nothing with the Twins, right? He came up through their international system and played a couple years there. I think he had like 20 home runs the year before he signed with the Red Sox, but nothing to indicate that he was going to turn into David freaking Ortiz, right? And so for the first, 2003, he has a really nice year with the Red Sox. 2004, he really takes off. And then after that, it's just off to the races. Big Papi is awesome. But for most of 2003 and at least half of 2004, I kind of just was waiting for him to stop being good. Because I was like, well, listen, I mean, it didn't ever work in Minnesota. This is probably just a fluke. You know, there was a year where we thought Yasiel Puig was the best baseball player on the planet. You know what I mean? There was a Shane Spencer moment in New York. Baseball has these weird stretches, right? Where a guy just, for whatever reason, is seeing the ball really well, or people haven't figured out the holes in his swing yet, or whatever. And so for about a year and a half, I just kept waiting for David Ortiz to suck. And then it was like, oh, nope, he's going to get 500 home runs. We're good here. And so what I'm waiting for is, okay, is Brock Purdy Yasiel Puig, or is he David Ortiz? That's what we don't know yet. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, and maybe it doesn't. But who knows? Hopefully, if it drops, it's after the Super Bowl. We've got Nebraska football coming up, because I promised transfer portal talk, and I've got transfer portal talk. All that and more coming up next here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Guys, let's face it, there is a time when you just need to get out of the house, to have your own place, to be with the guys, or just a quiet, relaxing place for yourself. Well, Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge hears you loud and clear. Settle in. Escape to Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge for an incredible selection plus premium cocktails, a knowledgeable, friendly staff, state-of-the-art humidor, and incredible lounge. Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 at 48th Street next to Covey's.
It's your time for higher education, not higher debt. And it all starts with a scholarship application to Metropolitan Community College. Every year, MCC awards more than $3 million in scholarships to students. In less than 5 minutes with a single application, you can apply for all the scholarships available to you. It's your time to path forward. Let MCC show you the way. Register today. Classes start March 9th. Apply today at mccneb.edu/scholarships.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
1620 The Zone will be on location Friday, January 27th at the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash. Listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout.
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. What a weekend it was, John. We definitely know all of the results that happened in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and that's why I'm excited for It is present me talking to past me. Who knows what in the world happened, but bet on this Sunday's conference championship games and win $150 in free bets. Guaranteed. All you got to do, place your first $5 bet and sign up today with our promo code 1620.
I know that present time John is happy that past time John, that's me, John, right now, was really happy that I put money on the Bengals this weekend. Or did I put money on the Bills? It didn't matter because when I bet $5, I got $150 in free bets, win or lose. So I'm happy. And you can be too at FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus in President Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued to non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
This is a sale so big that Standard Heating and Air can only do it once a year. Right now, and for a very limited time, buy a Carrier air conditioner from Standard Heating and Air and get a free furnace. Carrier, turn to the experts. On qualifying equipment, for details, call or click.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula hosting for Connor today, and Josh Otson producing as always. Joining us now from the AP covering the Kansas City Chiefs is Dave Skretta. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty good. Now, let's just start off. Obviously, Chiefs back in the AFC Championship game, kind of where they expect to be at this point. What's the vibe around there right now? Is it kind of just business as usual? What kind of level of excitement are we talking about?
You know what? I don't think it's business as usual. I think it would be if Arden Key didn't land on Patrick Mahomes' ankle on Saturday night.
Sure.
That's got everybody down here a little bit on edge. But yeah, I mean, I think any season at this point with this team, this coach, this quarterback, that doesn't end at least in an AFC Championship game is a disappointment. So I guess by that measure, you'd think, business kind of as usual. The Chiefs expected to be here, and here they are.
So let's get into Patrick Mahomes and that ankle. How much information, if any, do you expect to know about his status before the game? I mean, I think everybody assumes he's going to play one way or the other, but in terms of how effective he's going to be, is this just going to be a we have to wait and see type thing?
I think so. I mean, I don't think we're going to see him practice much at all. They don't have their first practice until tomorrow. He's supposed to address the media tomorrow. Whether that happens or not, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's a injury that's usually one that takes a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, even longer sometimes to overcome, and he's going to have to do it in 7 days, and that's a tall task. But Andy Reid on his little meeting with us reporters yesterday kind of sounded encouraged. He said that it's a similar injury, but not as bad as one that Pat played through in the 2019 opener against Jacksonville. And he came back the next week and threw 4 touchdown passes against the Raiders. So by that respect, there's reason to be a little bit optimistic. Whether that's Andy trying to raise the confidence level in the Chiefs at the onset of a new week, I don't know. But it'll be interesting. It's something we're going to be watching all week.
Obviously, with the Bengals coming to town comes all the talk about the current win streak that Cincinnati has over the Chiefs. You know, Joe Burrow 3-0 against Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. How much stock do you put into something like that in what amounts to a fairly small sample size with some pretty close games in there?
Yeah, it is a small sample size. 2 of those games, of course, are played in Cincinnati too, and everybody always says, you know, the home venue is worth 3 points. Well, the Chiefs lost by 3 points in both of those games, and they lost by 3 last year at home too. And you know, a kick goes one way, a fumble, a turnover goes another way. All 3 of those games could have had different outcomes. So, I mean, I think what it boils down to is these 2 teams are super evenly matched, and that's why we've had 3 really good games when they've met. And all of those games here have been in the last calendar year, just over that. So both of the teams are super familiar with each other, and I think that's what also kind of drives the fact that these games have all been so close.
Is there anything that you see Cincinnati do that you think is particularly problematic for Kansas City?
Yeah, I mean, I think 2 things. On the offensive side, the wide receivers are just so good, and that has to give the Chiefs a little bit of pause. I think nobody expected their rookie cornerbacks, McDuffie and Jalen Watson and Josh Williams, to play as well as they have all season. But now you're on the biggest stage outside the Super Bowl, and you're going against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. I mean, that's a huge task and a lot of pressure on those guys. And then I think on the other side, one of the things that really confounded the Chiefs last year in the AFC Championship game, especially in the second half, is the deep shell coverages and mixing up the defense. The Bengals have maybe the most unpredictable defense of any that we see in the NFL, and the Chiefs really had trouble in the second half adjusting to it last year in the AFC Championship game. Obviously, all they got was a field goal the rest of the way, and ultimately lost the game. So I think those 2 things are kind of the problems that the Chiefs are going to have to deal with going into Saturday night.
We're talking with Dave Skretta of the AP covering the Kansas City Chiefs. With the issues that Cincinnati has on their offensive line, specifically with the injuries, how do you expect Kansas City to try and take advantage of that?
Yeah, that's a good question, because you would think that the Chiefs would want to pounce on that and blitz early. They like to use L'Jarius Sneed, their cornerback, blitzing off the corner, do things like that, try to get a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow and try to help out those cornerbacks that I just talked about. But then you look at the Bills game, and 3 new offensive linemen plugged into that offensive line just absolutely dominated Buffalo. So, you know, on the one hand, you think it's an advantage for Kansas City, but Cincinnati really played well with those backups last week.
We can talk about matchups and things all day. At the end of the day, does this really come down to how healthy and how much of himself is Patrick Mahomes?
I think so. I mean, these teams are so evenly matched. I think the Chiefs would probably be a couple point favorite if Patrick was healthy. I've seen the line go from -2 to +2 and back and forth. I don't think anybody really knows where the betting line is supposed to be on this game because of Patrick and his injury. if they can put together a game plan that allows him to be effective with short, quick passes and doing things in the pocket rather than all of the off-schedule throws that have made him so dangerous over the years. And then I think the offense can keep humming and the Chiefs will be in the game. But it's certainly not going to be a game plan that they probably would have put together if Patrick was healthy.
Dave, I want to ask you a big picture question here. A lot of people anticipated with the departure of Tyreek Hill for this team to struggle, take a step back, maybe even fall behind the Chargers and the Broncos in the division. Obviously, that didn't happen. How do you think they were able to overcome the loss of such a weapon?
That is so funny because I'm about 700 words into a story right now about that exact same thing. They were faced with two options, right? They could have either given him a long-term contract, and the Dolphins ultimately did, or they could trade him. And they made the decision to trade him. And I think what that did was opened up the championship window from 3 years, 4 years of having Tyreek Hill around, where you're going to be really struggling against the salary cap that entire time, to maybe 6 or 8 years, or the rest of Patrick Mahomes' career in Kansas City, where you have a chance to be competitive and compete. I think what they did was they got better up and down the roster with the money and draft picks that they sort of saved and accumulated from that trade. You look at a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster, right, who Tyreek caught 120 passes, 1,700 yards. Juju didn't do that, right? He caught 80 passes for 900 yards. But he gave the Chiefs 55% of the offense for 15% of the cost. So
sure,
in that respect, the Chiefs really made a wise decision, I think, for the entire future of the team. And look, they have the number one scoring offense in the league, the number one pass offense in the league, the number one total offense in the league. So I think they did just fine offensively.
Yeah, it worked out, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think they're kind of going along the Tom Brady path, kind of in the middle part of his career, where maybe you're not bargain hunting per se, but rather than overpaying guys, they're going out and finding guys that are maybe good fits in their system for, a dramatically lower cost than what one of the premier guys like Tyreek Hill would be?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think one of the things that the Patriots did, and that's a good point, is they really took some of the money that they could save by not paying huge money for a wide receiver, for example, and they used it on the defense because Tom Brady was going to make a marginal wide receiver really, really good, right? And that's what Patrick is going to be able to do here. So use that money on the defense, really improve your defense. The Chiefs went from 31 sacks, which was like next to last in the NFL last year, to 55 this year, which was second best in the league. So they really improved that side of the ball, and I think that's what they're going to do here for kind of the foreseeable future. It's a balancing act that you're going to have to see teams like Cincinnati approach here. Joe Burrow is going to get a huge contract in the offseason, and the Bengals are going to have to make the same decisions with Jesse Bates and Von Bell and Eli Apple and all these guys that are going to become free agents even this offseason. So the Chiefs are kind of right in the middle of it. They're having to do that balancing act, and a lot of these other teams with the young dynamic quarterbacks are going to be in the same boat pretty soon.
Dave, is there a guy that you look at, obviously outside of Patrick Mahomes and his health, that you look at in this game against Cincinnati and you say, that guy could be an X factor in terms of could swing the game in favor of Kansas City if he plays a certain way?
Yeah, Travis Kelce. If he plays like he did against the Jaguars, then that's really going to help. And the reason I say that, too, is it goes back to Patrick. Kelce has this ability to find these little pockets and these 7-yard, 8-yard, 9-yard receptions where Pat doesn't have to sit back there or scramble or try to make time. He can just find Kelce for those shorter gains and keep moving the sticks and keep moving the ball and keep the offense going. We saw that last week against the Jags. He had 14 catches, so he didn't even have 100 yards. There were all these underneath catches that, the Jaguars are terrible at defending the tight end. I get it, and that won't be the case against the Bengals. But
sure,
if Kelce can be effective like he was last weekend, or even approach what he did last weekend, then that's going to be a huge bonus for the Chiefs offense.
Dave, we'll get you out of here on this. Does Zach Taylor get enough credit for the job that he's done with Cincinnati, considering where they were when he took over and where they are now?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, that's just my opinion. And I think you got to give credit to the ownership too. I mean, like 5 wins his first 2 years, and ownership stuck with him. And look, if they beat Andy Reid and he goes 4-0 against Andy Reid, and he goes on to his second Super Bowl, and all of a sudden he's blown right past Andy Reid for everything that Big Red has accomplished over his career. So, I think he deserves all the credit and then some.
Dave Skretta, AP, covering the Kansas City Chiefs. Dave, we appreciate your time as always, and hope you enjoy covering the game this weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That's our friend Dave Skretta from the AP, covering Kansas City Chiefs. Good stuff there from him. Go check out that article he's working on when it comes out. I thought that was a very good question on my part, and he did too, apparently. He's writing a whole article about it.
Look at that. You inspired him.
That wasn't even planned.
No,
that was spontaneous. You like it when radio works out that way.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some housekeeping here, Josh.
Yo.
So we've got odd news coming up here in a little bit, and then we've got Charles Goldsmith from the Cincinnati Enquirer coming up at noon.
That is correct. Those are going to be our next 2 segments.
Do we have enough time for odd news? That was my question.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna hit the break here. When we come back, we will have odd news with Odd Son right here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone wants you to win Gary's booty. Whoa, wait, what? Win $100 or more every weekday on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. Listen during the 6 and 8 o'clock hours for Gary and Nick to give you their stat of the day. Then during the 7 and 9 a.m. hours, listen for the cue to call, know the stat, and win a buttload of cash. Answer it correctly, and Gary's booty gets even bigger. Yep, we'll keep adding $100 to the booty bank till the correct answer is given on air. Win your share of Gary's booty on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley with 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A seasonal January day ahead for Tuesday. Watch out for areas of patchy fog in the morning, mainly north of the metro. Oh, I'd expect a few peaks of sunshine early, then clouding over for the afternoon. Highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone. The Creighton Blue Jays return home Wednesday night for the first matchup this season with St. John's. Pre-game coverage begins with Ravi Lula at 6 p.m. Tip-off is at 8. The Blue Jays Wednesday night on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Odd Son.
That music can only mean one thing here on the Connor Happer Show featuring Ravi Lula. It is time for Josh Otson to shine. It's time for the odd news.
Hello, Ravi.
What's up, Josh?
We begin with a story from baseball. The Yankees. Aaron Judge. Second time we brought him up today.
Does he play for the Yankees?
It's also a dog story.
I like dogs.
You like dogs, and he was on Jimmy Fallon. I assume last night. Who knows? Judge famously signed a 9-year, $360 million deal with the Yankees this offseason.
Allegedly.
He joined Jimmy Fallon, where he revealed that Anthony Rizzo was the one driving hardest to the hoop to get him to re-sign for the Yankees. And the pitch that he used was, hey, our dogs are like best friends. You're not going to break up that friendship, are you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a reasonable question to ask.
Yeah, so and Judge told Jimmy Fallon that was the reason he re-signed with the Yankees. Let's get your thoughts on that, and then I will bring the other thing I have involved in this story to the table.
I mean, first and foremost, world-class dog dad. Good on you, Aaron Judge. Really proud of you for that. Putting the needs of your dog first. Really, really happy for you there. Kind of disappointed that he still ended up with the Yankees because I have a little secret.
Oh,
I actually really like Aaron Judge.
Seems like a good kid, right?
He seems like a good egg.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is super nerdy baseball here, but I'm a big exit velo guy.
Okay.
Love an exit velocity.
Sure.
And Aaron Judge is like primo exit velocity. I've been on the exit velocity train early. I would call myself the driver of that bandwagon.
Okay.
So
that's right. You're a big Moneyball guy as well.
Big Moneyball guy as well. Yeah. So to have him be a great dog dad and to be like the exit velo king, I'm a big Aaron Judge guy, despite who he plays for. I was actively rooting for him to get to 61, 62.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, he was on Jimmy Fallon,
Mm-hmm.
who is a huge Red Sox fan.
So he's actually not.
He's not that.
So he's a Mets fan.
Okay.
He did the movie.
He did Fever Pitch. He played a Boston Red Sox fan on SNL a bunch of times.
He did.
Okay.
But my understanding is that he is a Mets fan, grew up a Mets fan. I don't know if he became a Red Sox fan because of the process of doing Fever Pitch, but I believe he is a Mets fan.
Okay. Because there's a clip at the end of this interview that I want to play that made me believe that Jimmy Fallon had abandoned his Red Sox fandom, and I've brought a clip.
Okay, let's listen.
And Kevin.
So they're talking about the dogs
right here. Anthony Rizzo, and I want to thank Kevin for getting Aaron Judge to sign. Great job, Kevin. Good boy.
See, very excited. Like, hey, thanks for getting Aaron back. Like,
Yeah.
seems very excited.
I think he just wanted him in New York still.
Okay.
So we could hang out with Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge seems like a pretty fun hang. But yeah, I don't believe he ever actually was a Red Sox fan.
Oh, okay.
There's a thing that's
wow, great acting by Jimmy Fallon. Never said that before.
There's a thing that certain people do when they make movies. It's called acting, where they pretend to be something they're not. And so Jimmy Allen pulled that off flawlessly in Fever Pitch.
Well, I have. I Googled, is Jimmy Fallon a Red Sox fan? And the first thing that came up is Jimmy Fallon had to support the Boston Red Sox because of an acting job. But in reality, he is a Yankees fan.
Oh, I don't know that he's a Yankees fan. I think he's a Mets fan.
Are you calling essentiallysports.com a liar?
Yes.
Wow.
Because listen, as a Red Sox fan, I was very deep into the Fever Pitch of it all. I believe he's a Mets fan. I think that's where now maybe he's one of those weirdos that he's like, I just like New York.
I could see Jimmy Fallon doing
He's
that.
like, I just want everybody to have fun.
yeah.
Yeah. He seems like the I just want both teams to have fun guy. Yeah, I would say that.
That's going to be a poll question.
Is Jimmy Fallon, I just want both teams to have fun guy. I think he is. That's the vibe I get from Jimmy Fallon, where he's just there for the laughs, for the gigs, for the giggles.
We moved to Splash Mountain.
Okay, let's do it.
The notoriously racist Splash Mountain.
I missed that, but okay.
Splash Mountain is a ride at Disney, obviously, but it's from the movie Song of the South, which you can't find that movie anywhere.
Yep,
because it's racist.
Yep. Okay.
Splash Mountain at the Magic Kingdom closed permanently last night to make way for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is from The Princess and the Frog, if I'm not mistaken. And some people are taking advantage of others' emotional connections to the attraction by auctioning off Splash Mountain water on eBay.
Oh my gosh.
Prices for this run from 99 cents to $150.
No, come on.
Yep. There's also a joke listing offering an old Splash Mountain Ziploc bag in a mason jar with tap water in it for $25,000.
What?
Don't buy that one.
Don't buy any of them. Don't. It's water.
It's just water.
And there's no way to prove it's from Splash Mountain.
Yeah, there's no certificate of authenticity.
It's probably all tap water. People do better.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. I also think it's kind of funny that like they're going the total opposite direction with the ride.
Not only are we going to get rid of this
it's like not only
racist ride.
Yes, is we're going to honor our only minority Disney princess with the new ride.
Yes.
It feels a little heavy-handed if I'm being honest.
Well, it's Disney.
Well, that's fair. You make a good point.
And finally, you're noted for your food takes.
I am.
We're halfway through the show. We have not gotten a Ravi food take yet.
Listen, no basketball, no food.
Yeah.
I told you, big football guy.
Wow, you are zigging when people want you to zag. Mattress rating website Sleep Junkie is seeking 5 people to get paid $1,000 to participate in a study requiring them to eat cheese before bed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sleep Junkie is seeking 5 dairy dreamers for a study that seeks to address the commonly held belief that eating cheese or other dairy products before bed leads to nightmares.
So there's actually I don't know if it's proof. Back in like the Victorian age in England, there was a certain type of cheese that they would that people would eat that if it went even a little bad was like fully hallucinogenic.
Oh.
And so there's a line in A Christmas Carol where Scrooge, I believe, has been visited by the Marleys and he's trying to explain away his visions.
Okay.
And he's like, perhaps I've had a bad bit of cheese. And now it sounds like a really stupid line.
Okay.
But at the time, very valid that he may have had a hallucinogenic experience after a bad bit of cheese. So I don't really know what that has to do with this experiment, but I thought it was a fun little tidbit to share you that you can trip balls off of cheese. Can I say that on the radio?
You did, so it's fine. The 5 chosen dairy dreamers will be asked to track their sleep and provide written evals of their sleep quality, energy level throughout the day, and reports on dreams/nightmares after consuming various cheese products. The study will last for 3 months. Applications are being accepted through February 10th.
I'm going to be honest. I would eat cheese before bed every night. I don't care.
I had a cheese stick last night, not too terribly long before I went to bed.
So when you say cheese stick, you mean like the peely kind, the kind you peel? Like the children's snack?
I don't peel them, but yes, they are peelable.
The peelable type. Okay. Because a lot of time, for some reason, some people will call a mozzarella a cheese stick.
Okay.
When a mozzarella stick, which is technically true. It's a fried cheese stick at that point. But I don't really do cheese sticks anymore.
Oh, really?
I had a bad experience.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I was eating one in a movie theater.
because
right,
diabetes had to eat.
Oh, okay.
So it was like I had like a whole lunchbox there, but it was dark in the movie theater.
Sure.
And this cheese stick had gone bad.
Oh no.
I think it came bad, to be honest. There was like a crust on it. And I don't know where the crust came from, Josh.
And you just powered through anyway.
I did not power through. As soon as I hit the crust,
Oh, okay.
I spit it out and was like, Mom, WTF
What are you doing to me, Mom?
is happening here?
Trying to watch Harriet the Spy.
I was actually watching the re-release of Star Wars Special Edition. I believe the year was 1997.
Yep.
That's how traumatic this experience was. I remember what I was watching. And my mom did not believe me that there was something wrong with the cheese. And I was like, I'm not eating that, Mom. The cheese is bad. And finally, she's like, whatever, do whatever. And then we got out of the theater and I was like, see? And it was like a crustified cheese. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's bad cheese. And I've been out on cheese sticks ever since.
Real quick, we got to get to Charles Goldsmith, who covers the Bengals for the Cincinnati Enquirer. But do want to pass along 4-star wide receiver Demetrius Bell has committed to the University of Nebraska.
Let's go!
The 6'1", 175-pound wideout from Nashville.
4-star.
Picked Nebraska. It was Nebraska, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Kentucky.
Oh, no big deal.
Yeah.
Just Nebraska beating the Blue Bloods for a recruit. I'm just saying, another wide receiver. What do we know? What does he know that we don't know? What does he know that we don't know?
What's going on in Lincoln?
What's going on in Lincoln? By the way, I finally joined the StreamYard. I didn't realize you'd emailed me, so we're in now. Coming up next, we've got Charles Goldsmith. Oh, that was the Odd News with Odd Son. Coming up next, we've got Charles Goldsmith of the Cincinnati Enquirer to talk about Who Dey, the Bengals, right here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
It's the lowest month-to-month rate of the year with no contract and no enrollment fees at Genesis Health Clubs. It won't get any lower than this, and enrollment fees are waived to celebrate 2023. This offer has been extended for a limited time. Hi, I'm Rodney Stephen. It's the new year, and you've set your New Year's resolutions, right? Well, it's time to go. I have good news and bad news for you. The bad news is, if you don't get started, your New Year's resolutions won't happen, and you'll be in the same place next year. You have to take that first step and build habits that will change your life forever. One of my favorite quotes is, if it is to be, it is up to me. And that is absolutely true. And we know you can do it. We'll help you every step of the way. We help hundreds of thousands of people reach their fitness goals each year. And what about you this year? Join Genesis Health Clubs for our lowest month-to-month rate that we'll offer in all of 2023. Plus, no enrollment fees and no contracts. Offer extended. Act now. It will not get any better than this. Join at GenesisHealthClubs.com now because this special won't last. This offer has been extended for a limited time.
Need a side hustle or career change? Now you can get certified to repair mobile devices in just 1 week. At the Metropolitan Community College Mobile Device Repair Academy, you can earn a national certification at our 1-week boot camp. Learn the skills you need to become certified and apply them during a 2-month internship. You may be eligible for special tuition funding. Classes start soon and space is limited. For more information or to enroll, visit mccneb.edu/mobile repair.
Mark your calendars for the 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout Game, sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health. The Blue Jays square off against Xavier at 11:15 a.m. on Saturday, January 28th. The first 16,000 fans in attendance will receive a free commemorative Creighton versus Cancer t-shirt with exclusive Pinkout posters distributed upon exit. Limited tickets remain online at gocreighton.com/tickets. The 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout Game, proudly sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free online visit. forhims.com/radio.
Are you looking for tickets for the next big event? Be sure to check out my friends at ticketsforless.com. They're going to take care of you all of the best seats to the biggest local events, and they've also got great seats to events nationwide. Now, the one thing with ticketsforless.com that I love is they never charge per ticket fees. And you know what? With that, you can save hundreds of dollars over other resale websites. You can lock in a special discount right now when you use the special code THEZONE at checkout at ticketsforless.com. Simply enter the code THEZONE at checkout, and you're going to earn an exclusive listener discount. Memories for life start at ticketsforless.com.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula in for Connor Happer. Josh Otson here as always. And we are joined by Charlie Goldsmith of the Cincinnati Enquirer. Charlie, how you doing today?
Doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well. I bet you're having a nice time. You're going back to the AFC Championship game. You're covering a really good football team. Let's start here. You go to the Super Bowl last year. Obviously, you have the you get the disappointment. You don't end up winning it. How has this team avoided what we've seen so many teams fall into, where they just have this huge fall off the cliff after a season like Cincinnati had last year?
Well, it was interesting. The Bengals started the season 0-2, and at that point, Joe Burrow was turning the ball over too much. The defense gave up game-winning field goals in back-to-back games. At that point of the season, the Bengals had two options. They could have said, we're fine, we just made the Super Bowl, let's keep doing what we're doing. But they took the opposite approach. They made some massive schematic changes. They made some huge situational changes. They decided they were going to take the ball first on the opening kickoff for every game for the rest of the season. That point of the season was a real kickstart for a set of philosophical changes that really gave this year's Bengals their identity. And since that point, they've only lost twice since early September.
How much of that credit from pulling out of that 0-2 hole do you give to Zach Taylor and the coaching staff? You mentioned the schematic changes and things like that. And how much credit do you give to a guy like Joe Burrow, who obviously seems to have kind of the emotional pull of that locker room?
Yeah, I look at Joe and Dak like very much a team.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow's used that word as well. Burrow's even a guy who's come up with some play concepts over the course of the season. And I think that relationship and the way they've empowered Burrow schematically, on the field in the heat of battle to make audibles, the way they have really more than any other NFL team designed an entire offense around one person and his strength since the day he got drafted. That's what put the Bengals in position to be successful schematically. And leadership-wise, Zach Taylor showed up in 2019 to a franchise that had a losing mentality. He immediately started talking about Super Bowls and winning culture and grit and effort and all those qualities. And it really took a guy like Burrow to change the entire locker room and finalize that process. Burrow is really the heart and soul in that area of this Bengals team. And again, those similarities are what make them a perfect pair.
With Zach Taylor, obviously he really struggled his first couple years there in Cincinnati until he had a healthy Joe Burrow. Was there, that you're aware of, ever really discussion of maybe moving on from him, or were they convinced that Zach Taylor was their guy?
Zach Taylor said last year that there are a lot of owners who would have moved on from him. The Bengals gave him runway with his plan. I think a big part of that was obviously they were bad in Taylor's second season, but Burrow obviously had the knee injury and missed the second half of the year, and they didn't quite get the chance to show some of the signs of that growth. What they really valued at the end of 2020 were a couple things. They valued the way Burrow looked in November before he got hurt. He looked already like a quarterback in the 10 to 15 range who was ready to skyrocket. They really valued the way he elevated the guys a lot of guys who had been there before, the way Taylor had elevated guys like Joe Mixon and Tyler Boyd and Jesse Bates. They really valued some of the draft picks. He really spearheaded making guys who are now stars like T. Higgins, Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt. And they really valued a team that, won 2 of their last 3 games, a team that really didn't give up on the season, a team that had great leadership from a lot of those names that I mentioned. All those qualities gave the Bengals ownership in their mind enough justification to bring Zach back, even though maybe not every team does. And obviously the rest is history.
So when you look at a guy like Joe Burrow, I think from the outside looking in, you see you see the clothes and you see the swagger and you see the way he carries himself. And I think a lot of people could look at that and say, man, how does that play in the locker room? Well, obviously in this situation, it plays well. What is it about Joe Burrow that people are able to buy into so much when from the outside, maybe he seems like he'd be kind of a tough hang?
Joe Burrow's a winner in every way. And that just struck a chord with the locker room who needed someone to actualize and materialize that philosophy. But here's the other side of Burrow too, the flip side of what you're saying, not rubbing people the wrong way. 2 things really stand out. One, more than, I talked to a lot of people in the building who have been in a lot of NFL locker rooms over the last few decades. Mm-hmm. And they say 2 things are unique about Burrow. One, his goal to connect with everybody. How many times he plays cards and the group is the 5th string safety, the 4th string linebacker, T. Higgins, and the kicker. Random groups like that Burrow brings together.
Yeah.
He literally has lunch with everybody. And then from a leadership perspective, again, people who have been in the NFL a long time have told me that they've never met someone who has a better sense of when to speak up. Burrow isn't the rah-rah guy for the Bengals. That's guys like Von Bell and Sam Hubbard and the center Ted Karras. They have those rah-rah guys. Burrow isn't one of them, but he picks really terrific spots and when to give these big speeches. Makes a huge difference. It's come up time and time again, and he's really developed that voice too. When he talks, everyone listens.
We're talking with Charlie Goldsmith of the Cincy Enquirer. You mentioned earlier that they basically made wholesale changes to fit the entire offense around Joe Burrow's skill set. On the football field, what are the things that they saw that Joe Burrow does that they're like, hey, we have to take advantage of this at every opportunity?
Well, a couple things. So I'll give you the quick history. In 2020, Burrow was solid, but he completed the fewest deep balls in the entire NFL. I think it was only 2 all season during his rookie year. Burrow made huge changes. The Bengals made huge changes to the offense and drafted Jamar Chase to unlock that ability. Boom, the Bengals make the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. During the offseason, the rest of the league had a chance to catch up. You saw a ton of offenses across the league, especially the Ravens and the Chiefs, get athletic safeties specifically trying to stop receivers like Chase and the Bengals in mind. And the entire NFL really came up with the philosophy across the league, you are not going to beat us deep. We are daring you to beat us underneath. It took the Bengals a bit to catch up to that. But when they did, Burrow became the best quarterback at 1, getting the ball out quickly, 2, moving around the pocket and avoiding sacks, and 3, making the best possible and really most efficient decisions. Last year, Burrow was about explosiveness. This year, he's about efficiency. It's been a response to the way the league has changed. And again, the proof is in the pudding.
Are we underrating his ability to just make that switch on the fly like that? Because that just off the top of my head, that doesn't sound like something that most quarterbacks in the league would be able to do.
It's insane. It's really insane. That's a great point. How quickly he is able to evolve as a player is one of the special things about Joe Burrow. The quarterbacks were updating in real time. I would put Burrow ahead of Josh Allen now at number 2. But the difference really between Burrow and Allen and Mahomes is how quickly Burrow is able to evolve. And again, how he continually comes up with the most efficient answer based on the clues the defenses are giving him and the way he is able to adapt. I don't think we've had a quarterback like that since Tom Brady in his prime. And that's, again, people who have been around with the Bengals and worked with Tom Brady say that's the comparison for the level Burrow's playing at right now.
It's funny that you bring up a couple of those points there, because earlier we were talking about where do we put Joe Burrow in terms of the tier of AFC quarterbacks. And I think the only guy in the tier with him is Mahomes, who I think is probably more physically gifted than Joe Burrow, but I'm not sure I trust anybody more than Joe Burrow. Is that fair?
Well, that's the thing. Like the Bengals came up with a game plan very famously last year in the AFC Championship game where they dropped 8 defenders a bunch. They clogged up passing lanes in the middle, double-teamed Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and Mahomes played statistically the worst half of his entire NFL career. Burrow just has a better track record of when teams throw stuff like that at him, responding and staying efficient, really. Burrow hasn't really had off games, except for games where he's been like coming off the appendectomy and wasn't feeling close to 100%.
Sure.
Again, the efficiency is the key, and he's as efficient as it gets.
And then you brought up the Tom Brady comparison. We were looking at Tom Brady earlier, ironically, in comparison to Brock Purdy because of the kind of taking over as a backup situation that they were both in. But Burrow has actually developed way faster than Brady has if you look back at his career, right?
I mean, he's the number 1 overall pick. He's the national champion in college. And these are also huge pieces of the Joe Burrow story because, Brady couldn't do what Burrow did, coming into the locker room as the starter and the captain and changing an entire culture for a losing franchise compared to Brady taking a winning franchise to a level no one had seen before.
So I want to ask you about the offensive line. Obviously, the stories have been written about being down 3 starters and everything like that. But then we watched Cincinnati against Buffalo last week. And the offensive line, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't watch the Bengals every week, but I've seen them quite a bit this year. That maybe looked as good as the Bengals offensive line has looked all year. How did that happen?
Part of it was, that's, I think, Zach Taylor's best game as a play caller and really as a play designer, too. Coming out of the gate, they did all this stuff with Jamar Chase in the backfield, moving around with motion. And they do some of that early. They have a lot of success. Big throw to Boyd, big throw to Chase, big run. And then they start running stuff off it. They start running a screen to Chase on the side. They pitch the ball to Chase. They do all sorts of counter moves to counter moves. With those play designs, they were able to get the ball out quickly. They were able to really trust the playmakers in space. And that was the huge thing, too. The Chiefs weren't letting the Bengals throw the ball deep. What the Bengals did is, here comes this word again, efficient throws over the middle by Burrow. And there's an incredible stat I don't have in front of me, but they got half their yards after the catch. The incredible job they did breaking tackles, using their athleticism, Burrow delivering the ball in parts of the field where the receivers could keep rolling. That's how the Bengals could create big plays, even though it wasn't a traditional, drop back for 10 seconds and wait for someone to get open.
All right, I want to focus a little bit on Kansas City here. Is there something that you see the Chiefs do that you look at and say, that could be a problem on Sunday?
Chris Jones, maybe the best interior pass rusher in football. Like I mentioned, the Bengals offensive line did prove a lot of people wrong. A lot of people wrong. The Bills don't have a pass rusher like Chris Jones. Chris Jones is the guy who literally took over both of the games the Bengals played against the Chiefs last year and was so disruptive that the Bengals paid a guard a lot of money in free agency for the first time in franchise history. That guard, Alex Kappa, is, they're saying he's improving. We'll see what his status is for Sunday. But anyway, an all-pro player like that going up against an offensive line that, again, has answered questions but is still a question mark because of the guys they have on there, that's the biggest concern.
Outside of Joe Burrow, who is the biggest X factor for Cincinnati that you're looking at on Sunday?
The defensive line of the Bengals. The Bengals shut down the Bills because their pass rush was relentless. First drive of the game, Joseph Osai, second-year player, rushes up the middle, hits Allen, makes him make a bad throw. Second drive of the game, Trey Hendrickson has, it looks like he's Lawrence Taylor coming off the edge to hit Josh Allen. Wave after wave after wave, B.J. Hill, DJ Reader, Sam Hubbard all made huge plays on the quarterback and looked dominant. If the Bengals do that again, especially with Mahomes dealing with the ankle injury, probably not going to be able to be as creative and dynamic as a runner. If the Bengals defensive line plays like that again, which they've shown first of all season, I think that's ball game because, again, that is a unit that can take over the game. And when they do, the Bengals are impossible to really do a lot against.
Charlie Goldsmith of the Cincinnati Enquirer. That was awesome stuff, Charlie. Thank you so much for your time and enjoy covering the game on Sunday. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
That's our friend Charlie Goldsmith of the Cincinnati Enquirer. Really, really good stuff there from both him and from our friend Dave Skretta over at the AP. Get a little preview of the AFC Championship game. That was good stuff. I'm glad we were able to get them both on there.
Ravi, we're going to have an Eagles guy on later this week.
Okay.
Niners, I'm getting crickets from everyone who covers the Niners.
Who did you reach out to for the Niners?
Literally everyone who covers the Niners for a website or newspaper.
Did you reach out to the guy on the Athletic?
I did.
Dave something?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's all I got. That was my suggestion. That's all I had. Worst case scenario, I will preview the 49ers for you.
I guess that is possible, yeah.
If you want me to.
Mm-hmm. We might have to do that.
If you need me to, I'll come in, and I get that I don't cover the 49ers full time, but I've got a decent amount of expertise on them.
You've got a good eye for it.
They are my squad. Pay a lot of attention. I promise not to do any Brock Purdy is the greatest quarterback of all time talk. We'll keep it nice and measured, like a beat writer would.
Good.
Good.
A little bias is okay.
Yeah. I won't go full Ravi Lula on you. I won't go.
No.
I won't go full crazy on you.
No.
What we've got top 5 coming up here in a little bit. Do we need to take one before that? Are we okay?
Yeah. Well, no. Let's take one.
All right, we're gonna take one here. I've got. Let's get into Demetrius Bell a little bit when we come back, and then at 12:30 we'll get to Josh's top 5 right here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone will be on location Friday, January 27th at the American Cancer Society's Hope Lodge, Nebraska. Stop by and drop off a donation of paper products, gift cards, or cash. Listen to 1620 The Zone and visit cancer.org/pinkout. The Creighton Blue Jays return home Wednesday night for the first matchup this season with St. John's. Pre-game coverage begins with Ravi Lula at 6 p.m. Tip-off is at 8. The Blue Jays Wednesday night on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. A new year means it's time for a new you. 5 years ago, I was in that exact spot and I was ready to ditch the glasses for good. I scheduled a consultation with Dr. Kugler and his team at Kugler Vision and figured out which of the procedures would work best for me. You can do the same today. Go to the website, KuglerVision.com, and also check out their special New Year savings on modern LASIK. That's KuglerVision.com.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula in for Connor. Josh Otson here as always. At least always when I'm here.
Connor's out sick today.
That's a deal breaker when I asked.
I'm toughing it out.
I asked you all right? You feeling okay?
I feel like Connor felt yesterday. My voice is going.
Uh-oh.
It's going.
Well, I'm not here tomorrow, so
okay.
Good luck to whoever survives whatever's going around the office.
Yeah.
Anyway, good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. We've got a new commitment for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Guess what position he plays? Just guess.
Well, I know. I have to recuse myself.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a wide receiver, as we were talking about before. Demetrius Bell, 4-star wide receiver, Demetrius Bell, commits to Nebraska. We're going to read down his offer list a little bit, South Carolina, which I think is probably where the connection came in. I assume Marcus Satterfield was in on him at Carolina, nor at South Carolina. Comes over to Nebraska, renews that relationship there. Had a Tennessee offer, Virginia Tech. You mentioned Kentucky, Michigan State, Alabama. Ever heard of them? Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. And listen, I don't know how many of these are committable. I don't know how many are non-committable. I don't know any of that. I'm just going by his list here. My guy's got mad offers. Okay? And he chose Nebraska, which again begs the question. What do all these wide receivers know about the University of Nebraska and their quarterback position that maybe we don't know yet? Because, as we discussed earlier, you know what wide receivers like? Good quarterbacks. They like good quarterbacks, which is reasonable, right? You want somebody that can get you the ball. You don't want to have a Larry Fitzgerald, Rod Rutherford situation going on. That's a deep cut.
It was.
That is a deep cut. You want to have somebody that can get you the rock. So I'm just, maybe they're very high on Jeff Sims. I don't know. They might be. What I do know is Nebraska is raking in the wide receiver commitments and really the commitments in general. We are now at 37 new players that will be on the roster. 37. We are 5 away from half of the entire roster being brand new.
We can get there, everybody.
I think we're going to. I really do. A week until the late signing day. And then we've got transfer portal window, the spring transfer portal window from May 1st to May 15th after spring ball. I think we're going to have 5 new guys. I don't know where they're coming from. And I don't know where the guys are going to be leaving to make room for these guys. Because we are currently at 101 scholarship players on an 85-man roster. So we're a wee bit over. Now, there's always the possibility that some of these guys, this is for the camera, you ready? That some of these guys will become walk-ons. We've entered a new realm here, right? Where I'm going to call them NIL walk-ons. Where theoretically, I'm sure someone's had this idea before, but theoretically, you could just, magically come up with enough NIL money to cover the cost of a scholarship for someone if you don't have, if you're maybe over your limit, that pesky 85 number. You just get around it. Be like, oh, we've got some NIL money. 1890's got a few dollars left in the coffers. Just go ahead and have some NIL scholarships there. I don't know. So I don't know if we're going to get down to 85, a real 85, to be honest. There's going to be some attrition for sure. I'd be surprised if Logan Smothers maybe is on the roster. So I think one of the quarterbacks is leaving, right? There's a quarterback leaving.
For sure.
Probably Logan Smothers seems like the least likely skill set wise to match up with what they're trying to do. Although Chubba Purdy seems like the worst, so I don't know. In terms of what we've seen, Chubba Purdy looked the worst last year. I'm not saying he's the worst in general. We have no idea if Heinrich Harburg even exists still. I haven't seen him since he signed. So he theoretically still exists. I'm told there's a Richard Torres that still exists somewhere. I don't know. But we'll have a quarterback leave, at least one. The wide receiver room's pretty crowded. We might have some wide receivers move on. But for being crowded, there's not a lot of returning production, so I don't know necessarily who's moving on. You're going to have to get closer to 85 than you're at now. But I do think we're in range of a 50% roster turnover, which is a little scary. Is a little scary. It shouldn't be because this team's been really bad at football. So like a 50% roster turnover should be met with, like church bells and singing. But it gives you a little bit of hesitation. Like, oh, we're just going to have half of a new roster next year. Makes you feel a little weird. But Demetrius Bell will be here. 4-star wide receiver. What do the wide receivers know? That's what I want to know.
What aren't they telling us?
You think they're just being totally upfront with you? We know everything they know? I don't think so. Dylan Raiola. That's all I'm saying.
Is the staff lying to these wide receivers, saying, "Hey, we're gonna get Raiola. It's gonna happen"?
Do we have a secret commitment situation here?
Oh, one of those silent commitment things?
Do we have a silent commitment? I don't know. The wide receivers seem to know something. They're knocking down the doors to get into dear old Nebraska U. They are knocking down the doors. We are knocking down the doors to get to Josh's top 5.
Hell of a segue, Ravi.
That's coming up next here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone wants you to win Gary's booty. Whoa, wait, what? Win $100 or more every weekday on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. Listen during the 6 and 8 o'clock hours for Gary and Nick to give you their stat of the day. Then during the 7 and 9 a.m. hours, listen for the cue to call, know the stat, and win a buttload of cash. Answer it correctly, and Gary's booty gets even bigger. Yep, we'll keep adding $100 to the booty bank till the correct answer's given on air. Win your share of Gary's booty on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley with 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Your Tuesday afternoon forecast will include partly cloudy to mostly cloudy conditions with temperatures topping in the mid to upper 30s. I'm tracking a high of 36 degrees. Northwest winds return tonight under mostly cloudy skies, morning low of 22. Even colder for your Wednesday, mostly cloudy skies, a high of 27. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KETV News Watch 7.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Severo. Rotella's Italian Bakery Bread is the thing you need to have in your kitchen. There's so many things that are invaluable, right? The thing that's most invaluable, in my opinion, this time of year is having some fresh bread in your house, whether it's dinner rolls or for a hamburger or hot dogs or just some regular white bread so you can make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or maybe you're watching some bowl games. Whatever it is, you want to have a good time, and the good time involves Rotella's Italian Bakery. It's 100 years of tradition. Get some bread today.
Creighton Sports Update. Creighton men's basketball is back at CHI Health Center tomorrow as they host St. John's. Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. Limited tickets are available online at gocreighton.com/tickets. That's Creighton versus St. John's tomorrow at 8 p.m. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Hey friends, Kent Pavelka here, back with John Higgins and the Rooferees at the Weather Guard showroom. A lot of people will, I had some bids here and just got to go with this guy.
We always ask the customer, did you get the referrals on those companies? Do your homework and check how long they've been in business. We try to stay really competitive. Doesn't matter if it's a Da Vinci wood shingle, asphalt shingle, vinyl siding, or hardy siding.
Just go with somebody who has the track record, right?
Right.
There's only one call to make. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about a Orgovyx.
Orgovyx Relagolic, 120 milligram prescription tablets, is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovyx is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovyx may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovyx can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovyx treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovyx may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovyx. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula in for Connor Happer. Josh Otson here as well. And it's time for the top five takeaways from the Oscar nominations?
That is correct.
Top 5 takeaways from the Oscar nominations. As I said earlier, I'm going in blind.
I like that.
And I wanted fresh eyes on this.
It's great prep by you.
Listen, it was a intentional omission, not a negligence.
Okay. Because a lot of people probably don't know who got nominated for an Oscar today because they don't care.
So I do.
And that's fine.
I do care, and I knew the nominations came out. And when I knew I was doing the show today, I was like, you know what? I bet this is what the top 5 is going to be about. And I want to have fresh, genuine reactions. So here we are.
All right.
Let's get it going.
Let's go.
God, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
Number 5, congrats to Paperboy. That's right. The actor, famous for playing Paperboy in the TV series Atlanta, Brian Tyree Henry, nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor.
What was he in?
It was a movie called Causeway. It went straight to Apple TV Plus with Jennifer Lawrence as the star.
Okay. There we go.
Brian has been great in Atlanta, Bullet Train, Widows, and more. He was
Bullet Train. That's what I haven't watched Bullet Train, but that's the preview I saw him in.
Yeah.
That I was like, isn't that Paperboy?
That's Paperboy.
It is Paperboy.
He was not nominated for his performance at the Golden Globes, so this was a bit of a surprise this morning.
Oh, okay.
And I hope it's an ascension to kind of like the next level
in terms of his acting career
for him. Yeah. I hope it's a step up because I like him in just about everything I've seen him in. I haven't seen him in everything he's done, but he's got range, that paper boy.
I haven't seen him in anything except for Atlanta, I don't think. And the commercials for Bullet Train.
Eternals? Did you see Eternals? He was in that.
Was
there
he
was
in
like
Eternals?
27,000 people in that movie.
I did see
and nothing from that movie is memorable.
Yeah, see, I didn't see Eternals. The most memorable thing about Eternals was that it was not memorable.
Yeah.
So that was, but yeah, I don't remember who he was in Eternals at all.
Yeah. Now, he's not going to win, but
but still nice to be nominated.
Yeah, very nice to be nominated. He's
As
nominated.
they say, it's an honor.
Yeah. Alongside who we talked about in the crossover, Short Round.
My guy.
I keep calling him Short Round because I don't want to butcher the name and be offensive to the Asian community.
Yeah, we're not dismissing him as only Short Round.
Yeah.
We're trying to not be offensive.
Yeah. It is the lesser of two evils. I can either butcher the name and look racist, or I can call him Short Round and look like a jerk.
So we went jerk over racist, which I think is the right call. Yeah. What else we got?
We move on to number 4.
Number 4.
All Quiet on the Western Front.
Okay, the Netflix movie, right?
Yeah, Netflix movie got 9 nominations, including one for Best Picture.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Especially for a movie that is it German, I believe?
Oh, yeah. Here's the weird thing. I like to have subtitles on when I'm watching a movie. I don't like strictly subtitles being the way that I consume the movie.
I'm the exact same way. I can do it. I just choose not to.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and this is probably offensive to cinephiles like yourself. I like to be able to, unless I'm really, really locked in on a movie, I like to have the option of maybe checking some text messages, like not to be a little bit more passive during parts of the movie.
Now, you may think like, oh my gosh. Now, at a movie theater, I would never pull my phone out
Sure,
and check it.
yeah. But at home,
yes, it is on the movie to be better than anything on my phone.
That's accurate. Yes,
like it's on the movie to prevent me from getting to a point where I see what's going on Twitter or whatever.
A lot of my at-home entertainment experience is passive.
Yeah.
If I'm not like watching a game and like prepping for shows or whatever like that by watching games, a lot of my show or movie viewing experience is a passive one. So you're right. It's on the movie to engage me to the point that I don't want to be distracted.
Yes. 100% agree with you there.
And in German that's a tall order for that prescription. And I believe it only came out on Netflix primarily, right?
Right.
Like they may have had
very
tiny,
small,
but
New
like,
York, LA, something like that.
Pretty much it was a strictly Netflix rollout, which means it is strictly on Netflix to keep my attention.
Peek behind the curtain, Netflix desperately wants a Best Picture
so badly.
Oscar, so bad.
Especially after last year?
Apple won it for Coda last year, and I believe Hulu no, that was Best Drama at the Emmys. I'm sorry.
I think Apple was the first one to win Best Picture.
Yeah, Netflix really wants one bad, and this is kind of their best shot this year with the Marilyn Monroe movie. Blonde didn't do what it was supposed to do.
No, not at all. It bombed pretty badly.
Yeah,
but they were they're swinging for that Best Picture hard, and they have missed pretty dramatically.
Yeah, year after year.
Yeah, like they put one up just about every year that they think could be it, and they have not been close.
No. Number 3.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
Look.
What do we got?
I'm a diehard Taylor Swift fan.
Okay, big Swiftie?
Big Swiftie. You got to calm down. She was not snubbed for an Academy Award, okay?
Okay.
The only reason she would have been nominated is so that they could invite her to perform on the show and boost ratings.
Sure.
Okay. What was the name of the song? Carolina, for the movie Where the Crawdads Sing.
Oh,
which is not a movie anyone
should watch.
Very mediocre movie, very mediocre song.
Seemed like a really strange movie.
Yeah. It was a murder mystery that didn't care to explain to you who did the murder,
what was
or
happening
anything
at
about
all.
that. Yeah. Like, hey, this is a whodunit. Get to the whodunit.
So the actual opposite of like Knives Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
She was not snubbed. The nominees were a song written by Diane Warren, which is required by law every year. There is a song written by Diane Warren that is nominated for Best Song at the Oscars.
Fair.
A Lady Gaga song from Top Gun.
Terrific ending to that movie.
A song by Rihanna from Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
Those were locks. Those were locked in.
Absolutely.
The song from the Indian movie RRR. That won the Golden Globe for Best Song. So obviously that's going to get nominated. And then a song from Everything Everywhere All at Once, which got the most nominations at the ceremony today. 11, I believe. So obviously it's going to be represented here.
Sure.
There's no room for Taylor Swift.
No, there is not.
Sorry.
No, there's not. Taylor Swift and your Swifties, just relax. It's okay. It's okay.
You'll get it. Don't worry. It'll happen someday.
You're fine. I mean, and if it doesn't, you're fine. You're still like the most famous musician on the planet right now. It's okay.
It's fine.
You don't need an Oscar.
No.
Just because Kobe got one doesn't mean you need one.
Here comes two.
Number 2.
People forget Kobe won an Oscar.
He did. He did win an Oscar. R.I.P.
Number 2, the real snub was Viola Davis. She should have had her 4th acting nomination. Instead, for the movie The Woman King, where she just plays an absolute badass.
Yeah.
Which is a really good movie, really fun.
Just kicking ass and taking names the whole time. Yeah.
And we don't often get to see women do that, or let alone black women do that in a movie. And it was really fun to watch. Instead, a woman named Andrea Riseborough, I believe is how you would pronounce that, was nominated for a movie called To Leslie in the Best Actress category. Ravi, have you heard of the movie To Leslie?
You're going to be surprised here. No.
Well, it was a trick question because I have not heard of the movie To Leslie because it made $27,000 at the box office.
Oh my gosh.
Not 27 million.
Not even 270,000.
$27,000. Your car that you're driving right now probably cost more than the amount of money this movie made at the box office.
I'm actually looking for a new car right now, and mine does cost more than that. I'm
maybe even twice as much.
Looking at trading it in. I mean,
what you're looking at.
I get a little bougie sometimes.
Ravi's a baller. Let's not lie.
I do have my eye on that Wagoneer.
Which leads me to my number 1 takeaway from the Academy Award nominations released very early this morning.
Okay, here we go.
Make it so, number 1.
Number 1.
Academy, look me in the eyes.
Look him in the eye, Academy.
Look at me right here. Put the phone down. Look at me.
Don't look at him. Look at me.
Nominating blockbusters for Academy Awards will never drive ratings. And here's why. Here's why. I'll tell you why. Free tip for anyone listening. The blockbuster's going to lose to the artsy fartsy film that no one has seen or heard of. You're going to get people's hopes up with, maybe Top Gun Maverick will win. I've seen that. Avatar won. Maybe that'll win. Why would Avatar win? It was garbage.
I mean, the first one was garbage. Why would the second one be better?
But you get people's hopes up, and then the artsy fartsy film wins, and they go, what do those people know? Those Hollywood elitists know. They don't know movies. I know movies.
So I agree with you that it doesn't drive ratings. But I also think that Top Gun Maverick deserved to be nominated for Best Picture.
I agree.
It was one of the best movies of the year.
Certainly one of the 10 best movies.
Not that I watched every movie this year, because I didn't, and I'm not going to pretend that I did. But
trying to think of how many of these Connor saw, and I believe the answer is 1.
Oh, which one was it?
Elvis.
Okay, he did. See, I mean, Elvis is kind of a blockbuster too. I mean, not kind of, it is. That was a big time movie.
Very successful.
Fableman's kind of is in between the two. I would say it's like it is a movie maker's movie, but also has broad appeal.
Right.
So that's kind of a more likely type of winner. Not that it will, but that type of movie can win sometimes. I don't know. I mean, Top Gun Maverick should absolutely be nominated. It was one of the best movies of the year.
It should also, as I said during the crossover, it should be celebrated for what it did for
movies.
Let's face facts, a dying industry, and that would be movie theaters.
Yes, I mean it completely reinvigorated the movie going experience.
I mean, there were people I heard honest to God conversations where people like, "Hey, we went and saw Top Gun Maverick. Did you know there's recliners in the theaters now?" Yes, there's been recliners in theaters for like 10 years.
Yeah, like a decade.
Yeah.
And it was a movie that was definitely better in theaters.
Right. You want that big picture. You want that big sound system.
I would say you want the noise of the planes to shake you, even if the seat's not supposed to shake. You know, like it's a very big movie, big screen experience. And so I think it's I wouldn't have said an important movie, but I think it is an important movie for those reasons. So I understand why it got nominated. Now, again, I don't think it's going to drive ratings. Even if it wins, I don't think that drives ratings, but it certainly deserves to be in this conversation. It's definitely better than Avatar. I mean, I don't think that's a hot take. I liked it better than Elvis, and I've watched Elvis a couple times. I saw Top Gun Maverick's the first movie I've seen multiple times in theaters.
Oh, wow.
I think since Endgame.
Okay, I was going to guess a Marvel movie.
Yeah. I saw Endgame at least 3 times in theaters. I saw Top Gun Maverick twice. And I mean, that means something, right? That's something people used to do a lot, is go to a movie multiple times. And then when it came out on streaming, I watched it again. Love that movie. Terrific movie. I wonder, can movies like that win anymore?
I don't think so. I mean,
isn't that what's wrong with the Academy, though?
You would agree that Top Gun Maverick was like, on the face, like, oh, it's just a blockbuster sequel, but then you go see the movie and it's actually like a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, I thought it was a legitimately good movie.
Yeah.
Dramatically better than the first one. I mean, that's not even up for discussion, I don't think.
Right.
Most people's love for the first one is unintentional comedy and nostalgia. Top Gun Maverick is genuinely a good movie.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I think the fact that neither of us think it can win is sort of what's wrong with the awards. There needs to be a place. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's not good.
Right.
And I think the Academy takes that into their brain where it's like, oh, if it's got mass appeal, it can't be artistic.
Right. Exactly.
And that's not true. I mean, look at
the dregs of society like Top Gun Maverick. I couldn't possibly vote
the
for that.
common man.
Yeah.
And listen, some of the best picture movies of all time are some of the most popular movies of all time. I mean, The Godfather won Best Picture.
It's true.
Rocky won Best Picture. Like, these are what we were talking about earlier in 94. Was it Pulp Fiction?
Right. Pulp Fiction didn't win. Forrest Gump
Gump won. One of the most popular movies of all time. Like, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's not also artistic and good.
Right.
The Academy needs to get that through their brain here. Like, it's okay to have a movie win that people have actually seen.
And I also don't want them to do the cop-out thing that they've talked about of, well, let's have a most popular movie Oscar.
That's stupid.
Category. Yeah, that's dumb.
Stupid.
That's dumb.
Just vote better. Just be better at your jobs. You have like one job, literally, is to nominate and choose winners. Be better at that. I don't think that's a hot take.
Let's go with that.
Just be better.
Yeah.
Be better at your job. In general, the whole world would work better if everyone was just like 10% better at their job, except us. We're killing it.
100%.
We are killing. If we were 10% better of our job, it would not make it fair for other people who do what we do.
Exactly. And we like the competition. We like the thrill of skating by the skin of our teeth.
It's like when Larry Bird played that whole game left-handed. Like, he likes to play with his food a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's not great, but sometimes you got to create little challenges for yourself.
It's odd because we did play Ring Around the Rosie before the show started.
It's true.
Like the Chiefs did a couple of weeks
ago. Speaking of Larry Bird, I've got a question for you when we come back.
Okay.
We're done with the top five. That was one, right?
That was number one.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't cutting you off.
No.
When we come back, I have because I was having a discussion the other day about so I don't know why Larry Bird came up, but it did. And I found out that I have a take that I did not realize was a hot take.
Oh.
And I found out very quickly, that is a very hot take. And I'm curious if you've ever had that happen to you. I'll explain, and we'll get to that and more as we get to the somehow already in the final hour of this show right here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Mark your calendars for the 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout game, sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health. The Blue Jays square off against Xavier at 11:15 a.m. on Saturday, January 28th. The first 16,000 fans in attendance will receive a free commemorative Creighton versus Cancer t-shirt with exclusive Pinkout posters distributed upon exit. Limited tickets remain online at gocreighton.com/tickets. The 12th annual Creighton versus Cancer Pinkout game, proudly sponsored by Methodist Hospital and CHI Health.
Does eating at home have you singing the blues? Stop by Cobb's at the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or 72nd and Jones to grab a delicious pizza, burgers, fresh salad, and some tasty charred wings. They even offer keto crusts and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Cobb's, now with 3 convenient locations to serve you. Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and 72nd and Jones. Click cobbspizza.com to see the menu. Pizza and so much more.
So, how are the kids?
Well, Emily made the honor roll.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, we're really proud of her. Tyler, on the other hand, though.
What's going on?
He's been moody lately, just feeling down and not like himself.
Oh, we've been there. Nick was struggling last spring. He was so anxious and stressed.
Really? What helped?
Well, he joined the soccer team. And ever since, he's been a lot happier. He has more energy, he's less stressed, and he's definitely in a better mood at home. It's made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of the house, he's getting some exercise, and he's off his phone for once. It's been good for his mental health.
Sounds like it's been good for your mental health, too.
Participating in Nebraska high school sports improves students' physical and mental health. Encourage your son or daughter to get involved. This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we
go. Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula in for Connor Happer, Josh Otson in as always. There's a sound in this bump here that sounds like a cat.
Yeah, there's sort of a rear.
Yeah, it sounds like a cat, and it throws me off a little bit every time. It sounds like somebody recorded their cat when it was angry and then like auto-tuned it. Like if T-Pain had a cat.
Entirely possible given the state of music today.
Well, what's that supposed to mean, Josh? You got a problem with the state of music today? First you're going after the Swifties, now you're going after the music industry in general?
Look.
What's happening here?
I wish one of two things in new music.
Yeah.
I want the songs to be better, and I want the songs to be by people I've heard from before.
Oh, so you're old.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
No, that's fair. I'm trying to think when it switched for me.
Too many new artists.
About 3 these youngs in their music.
Yeah.
It was probably about 3, maybe 4 years ago. The Super Hits station on satellite.
Okay.
Stopped recognizing a lot of what was going on there. And the only stuff I recognize now is directly off of my TikTok. Where I'm like, oh, I didn't. Like sometimes when you're scrolling through the TikTok there, I forget that those are real songs.
Right.
A lot of them are real songs. Like whole songs. And then I hear it on the radio. I'm like, oh, I know this. This is that TikTok song. And then there's 3 more minutes of it. And I'm astounded every time.
Wow.
Like,
the song's really long.
Wow. Little Owen Wilson there. Wow. There's a whole song. What's better, my Owen Wilson or my Mitch Holtis?
Your Owen Wilson.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, so that was just us being old for like 30 seconds there. Anyway. Get off of my lawn. Josh Heupel just got my guy.
Oh, yeah. The Brinks truck.
Yeah, back it up. He's making now, well, we like to call this Matt Rule money, about $9 million a year. Is that gonna bother some people there, Josh? He's now top 10 nationally in salary. His contract goes through 2029. 29? He's killing it. He's having himself a good day. $9 million goes a long way in Tennessee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just think of how many trailers you could buy.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry. I had to. Legally obligated. Although I will say, one of the best fight songs they got out there. Rocky Top, great song.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Great song. It's them and West Virginia, I think, are 1-2 in some order. I'd probably go West Virginia first. I'm a John Denver guy. I'll go John Denver. But Rocky Top is probably a little bit more like pump up. It's a little more upbeat than West Virginia. Or Country Roads, I guess it's called. It's a little more pensive, introspective. But he can listen to Rocky Top as many times as he wants with his $9 million a year. Good on you, Josh Heupel. I got to say.
Bravo.
And for some reason, Scott Frost has been trending on my thing. I think it's just because Twitter's messing with me now with the 4Us and the whatnots. I don't think anything's actually happening with Scott Frost because I looked. But being an unemployed Power 5 football coach, it's the way to go, man. That's my dream job, is being a bought out Power 5 football coach. That's the life. You're making conservatively $5 million a year to do nothing at all. There's worse ways to live.
I believe Scott Frost is trending because the offensive coordinator position at Alabama is open, and that is famously a coaching rehab destination, and people want Scott Frost to take that position.
I think he needs to take position at a regular rehab place before he goes to an Alabama Am I allowed to say that?
I don't know.
Allegedly.
There you go. We're good.
I'm going to move on. So we were talking about Larry Bird.
Yeah, Larry Bird.
So I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, Damon Benning. I don't know if you heard of him.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
Listen, he still exists. He's a person. Good dude. You may recall.
I do. Recall.
So I was talking to him, and I don't know why this came up, but I very casually just dropped oh yeah, Larry Bird is better than Magic Johnson. Which I firmly believe and did not think was a hot take. This sparked an aggressive debate.
Well, you were talking to a Lakers fan when you said that.
Well, there were other people involved in this debate, and I was clearly in the minority. That
you usually are.
I mean, not in that crowd.
Can I go there?
Much like Larry Bird during his NBA career, I was clearly in the minority.
Look at us saying things.
Look at us. And so it made me think, well, first of all, I think that's true. I think Larry Bird's better than Magic Johnson. I think Magic Johnson has a better resume, like achievements wise. He got more titles and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
I think Larry Bird's a better basketball player. Just full stop, I do. I did not realize that's a hot take. Have you ever had a take or a sports thought, or it could be movies, could be anything, where this is just a thing that you believed and did not think that it was controversial at all until it came up in conversation.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, wow, I touched a button there. I touched a hot stove. Has that ever happened to you? Because I was pretty taken aback by the reaction. I thought it might be like, well, I mean, I'd take Magic over Larry, but I get what you're saying. It was like aggressive pushback.
I'm sure it's happened. I can't recall a specific instance.
It happens with me with movies a lot, although I kind of know their hot takes, even though I don't think they should be. Like, for instance, you're going to hate this.
Oh.
I was not as enamored with the Batman as everyone else was.
Okay. Yeah, I understood that I liked that movie more than a lot of people.
I don't know. A lot of people really liked that movie.
Yeah. I remember when it came out, a ton of people liked it, and now, like, nobody really wants to discuss it.
I mean, it was fine. For a 3-hour movie, here's my problem. Is it felt like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Like, as I'm watching it, I'm like, this feels like a 3-hour movie. When I'm watching Endgame, flew by.
Yeah.
That could have been another hour and a half, and I wouldn't have noticed. Do you have anything that comes to mind?
I mean, I guess I probably knew it was a hot take. I just didn't know how hot it was.
Sure.
When I said, actually, two things come to mind. When I said that Forrest Gump is not a top 5 Tom Hanks movie.
Oh, okay.
People really did not enjoy me saying that, even though it has not aged well, and Tom Hanks has done a bunch of great movies.
It hasn't really aged well. I mean, and, when you got stuff like You've Got Mail out there.
Well.
Did that also not make your top 5?
That did not, believe it or not. And last year...
Big the Terminal guy?
No, that's Connor. Last year I said...
It's the only Tom Hanks movie he's seen.
It's true. He had not seen Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, come on, man.
Last year I said Nebraska baseball had a season's worth of chances to make the Big Ten tournament and didn't.
Yep, that's accurate.
So they can't be up in arms that Purdue didn't play their last game and allow them to get in. And the Menchies were a tire fire. I thought that was pretty, like, hey, do the work yourself kind of a take. And people were like, nope, we were screwed. We were screwed by Purdue.
No, see, I actually agree there because, I mean, like, I get that it's probably a little shady on Purdue's part.
Sure.
But you need to look in the mirror there. This is one of those, Like if an official costs you a call, like costs you a game down the stretch with a call.
That's what I related it to.
It's like you need to control what you can control. You played a bunch of Big Ten baseball games. Bunch of them. If you had won a couple more, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And you thought you were going to be a lot better than you were, where you shouldn't have been in this conversation. It's going to be the same way. Listen, I'll play both sides of it here. It's going to be the same way with Creighton basketball. If Creighton basketball misses the NCAA tournament with a really high net ranking, which they will have because their metrics are really good, really high Ken Palm, the metrics are going to be off the charts. Let's say they go in at like 18-13 and they miss the NCAA tournament. They had a season's worth of games to get in. They didn't get screwed. They severely underperformed, if that's what the season ends up being. And listen, did they probably still have a good enough resume to get in? Maybe, but you had 31 chances to get in, and you didn't do it. You lost to the Nebraska, BYU, Arizona States of the world. You know, you kind of get what you get. So this isn't just a Nebraska baseball thing. I believe this in a lot of areas. Where I get upset is when mid-majors who do everything they can with the schedule they're given don't get into the NCAA tournament. That's where I'm like, hey, they did everything they could. So I get a little upset there. But that's not the boat Creighton's in anymore. That happened to Creighton, I want to say, like 2008. They were a top, 30 RPI team at the time. I think they were at the time the highest-ranked RPI team to not make an NCAA tournament. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I think they kind of got hosed a little bit. They play in the Missouri Valley. They don't get a ton of credit. The league's better than people think it is. They ended up getting hosed out of the NCAA tournament. That's not the boat Creighton's in anymore. You got a whole season's worth. A lot of opponents, a lot of really good opponents to get to 20, 21, 22 wins, get in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get in, that's on you. Maybe that's going to be my new hot take that people are mad about. But you had your chances to win. You have winnable games throughout. But yeah, apparently people get very upset when you say Larry Bird's better than Magic Johnson.
I didn't know that. I mean, I guess I could assume that because you said it and I went, "Oh, really?"
I don't understand how people can't look at it and say it's at least up for debate. People seem to clearly think Magic Johnson is better. And I don't think that's true. I really don't.
I don't know.
You're kind of on the Magic Johnson train, aren't you?
I kind of am, yeah.
Do you have a case? I'll hear it. Is it just a vibe?
Yeah, it's a vibe. It's a more, his game was fun to watch.
Man, if you don't think Larry Bird's game was fun to watch, I don't know what to tell you.
I guess at the time, Larry Bird was kind of like watching Steph Curry now, where it's just like, wow.
Well, kind of.
That guy can really make anything.
Well, you got the passes. Man, he's just like the Larry Bird's game is what I want, like, everyone to try and emulate. Like, that's like not a ball dominant guy. Just does every single thing you could possibly want on a basketball court. By the way, bet you didn't know this. 3-time All-NBA defensive team, Larry Bird. Yeah. Well-rounded player. Both sides of the ball. Two-way player. Just call him Kawhi. Well, maybe not Kawhi, but
Larry had more personality than Kawhi.
I've met paper bags with more personality than Kawhi. That's a very low bar to clear. Mm-hmm. Very low bar to clear. What do you think we would put the odds at if on Scott Frost becoming the next offensive coordinator at Alabama?
Plus 1250.
Yeah, it's got to be at least 1,000, right?
I mean,
probably higher, but
seems pretty set on just kind of hanging out in the desert for a little bit, right?
Oh, I was looking at this from a Saban standpoint.
Oh, yeah. That too. I don't think either side wants the other.
This has got to be like a plus 2,500, man. Yeah. This is, why is this trending? Are Alabama people wanting this?
There are some Alabama fan accounts that have never watched a Nebraska football game ever. I think they're sharing a lot of UCF highlights. Yeah.
UCF was a long time ago, my guy. Long time ago. Where are we at time-wise here, bud?
We're gonna need a break here.
Okay, well, the man says take a break. We're gonna take a break. Coming up, I want to talk about the transfer portal. I've been teasing it all show.
You big tease.
I am a big tease. I want to talk about the transfer portal because I got questions. That's coming up next here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
The Creighton Blue Jays return home Wednesday night for the first matchup this season with St. John's. Pre-game coverage begins with Ravi at 6 p.m. Tip-off is at 8. The Blue Jays Wednesday night on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp, voice of Omaha men's basketball. The Mavericks continue their road trip coming up on Thursday night when they travel to Kansas City to take on the Roos. 6:30 airtime on News Talk 1290 Coil. Tip-off is 7 o'clock for Kansas City and Omaha.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Berry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Berry Law today. 402-999-7777.
Does eating at home have you singing the blues? Stop by Cops at the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or 72nd and Jones to grab a delicious pizza, burgers, fresh salad, and some tasty charred wings. They even offer keto crusts and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Cops, now with 3 convenient locations to serve you. Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and 72nd and Jones. Click copspizza.com to see the menu, pizza, and so much more.
Do you know a high school senior who'd like a $12,000 college scholarship? Well, be sure to tell them that the Salvation Army is now seeking nominations for the DJ's Hero Award scholarships. We're looking for Nebraska high school seniors who have overcome adversity and who are doing the most good in their communities. The application deadline is March 8th. Nominate your hero today. Just go to djsheroapp.org for more information. That's djsheroapp.org. djsheroapp.org.
Nick Handley here. You know, we're really lucky to have DJ's Dugout here in Omaha. I've covered sports all over the country, and when traveling, I've often said, man, I wish there was a DJ's Dugout here. There's no better place to watch sports and gather with friends, period. Huge media walls, great food and drinks, plus I always know DJs will have the game I'm looking for, no matter what the game is. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back to Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula in for Connor Happer. Josh Otson here as always, trying to keep me on time. We're doing our best here. Well, you know, it's all these, well, I was going to blame it on the analog clocks, but literally everything is digital in here. So it's no one's fault but my own. I just, I talk. That's what I do. Just keep talking.
Well, that's your job.
Technically speaking, yes. So Nebraska, you know, we talked about Demetrius Bell, all the wide receivers.
Mitch Sherman with a good tweet. The addition of Demetrius Bell brings the number of wide receivers to 17 at Nebraska who are on scholarship or have been while at the school. 8 are new to the program. And then he goes on to explain who Demetrius Bell is for the uninformed.
17 wide receivers.
Feels like a lot.
Now, I would be surprised. I think they pretty routine. I don't know about Nebraska specifically. I think programs pretty routinely carry in the teens, low teens usually. But if you think about it, if you're going 5 wide ever, you basically need 10 to go too deep.
You know, two of those wide receivers might be a return guy for you.
Yeah, you have a return guy. A lot of them might some might play special teams, be gunners, things like that.
Some of you might flip one to a secondary position.
You know, so 17's a little high. I don't think it's crazy high.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot, but I would expect some attrition at the group. Obviously not out of the 8 new guys. And I would guess not out of the 2 guys that came back in Betts or Garcia Castanedas. I would guess those guys are not going to leave now after choosing to come back. So that's 10 right there that you probably think are in. I would imagine Alante Brown and Marcus Washington are in, so that gets you to 12. So maybe you're looking at 5 guys that, not the hamburger joint, but thank you. Appreciate but five guys that are maybe up for grabs here in terms of transfer portal. I'm looking at like a Bonner, maybe like a Victor Jones. I mean, remember Tommy Hill just switched over from secondary to wide receiver.
Right.
What is he? There's not a ton of room to pare down. It's really Bonner or Jones, I think. Or you've got Sean Hardy. Maybe those 3 guys get you down to like 14, which is, I think, pretty close to the number you'd want to be at. You've got 15 offensive linemen, which is good. One of those, I said transfer portal. Here we are. Came out of the transfer portal yesterday. Jacob Hood, who is just an enormous human being. Clocking in at 6'8" and somewhere between 350 and 360, depending on who you ask, depending on who you believe. Very large man. Enormous guy. And he is now part of the class, or part of the Husker roster, coming from Georgia. Got a little Georgia connection coming out of the transfer portal. I believe between 3 Georgia guys, 3 Florida guys, and an A&M guy, that puts Nebraska at 7 of their 11 transfers are out of the SEC. And I don't know why, but I like that. I like that they're getting guys from the SEC.
Well, you've seen that. I don't know if it's a meme or a graphic that's been going around all day today. It's a map of the United States, and the very, very southeast portion of it is circled, and it says 16 of the last 17 national championships have come from this part of the country.
Yep. And I think the one that didn't was Ohio State.
That is correct.
So those are the kind of guys you want to get. And whether you get them the first time around or whether you get them on a bounce back, I think that's positive for Nebraska. And the other 4 are all Power 5 transfers. Every single transfer to Nebraska so far is a Power 5 guy, which I think is very interesting considering the track record of transfers coming into Nebraska previously. And some of the non-Power 5 guys, Toure is a great example, were really, really good. So this isn't to crap on any of those guys. But I think it says a lot about what Matt Rule and his staff are looking for in terms of a physical profile for guys bringing into their program. Here's the problem. I don't know if any of these guys can play for the most part, right? So you've got like Billy Kemp from Virginia has a track record of being successful at the Power 5 level, right? Ben Scott has been a starter at the Power 5 level. A lot of these guys we don't know much, if anything, about. Jeff Sims, we've seen play Power 5 football a little bit. He's been injured some, but specifically the Georgia guys, the last 3 guys to come in, MJ Sherman, Eric Gilbert, and Jacob Hood. We just don't know a lot about these guys as college football players. And so I want to be excited the same way I would be excited if they got, 4 and 5 star recruits coming out of high school. The problem is these guys have been in systems for a couple years in some cases. I think in Gilbert's case, 3 years. So what do we do with these guys that we can't assume upside the way we do with high school recruits, and we can't point to production the way we can with some transfers like Billy Kemp and Ben Scott, where you look at and say, yep, this guy's produced. What do you do with these guys that just haven't really gotten on the field yet? And that's kind of where I struggle with figuring out how to evaluate. That being said, we talked earlier about Joe Burrow, who was clearly the best quarterback in that Ohio State quarterback room, never got on the field at Ohio State. So you've got those guys. You've got another Georgia transfer, Jermaine Johnson, that transferred to Florida State, tore up the ACC, became a first-round draft pick in the NFL at defensive end. So it happens where guys just, hey, need a different opportunity, need a different spot, need a different position coach that values what I do, need just a fresh start somewhere. And I think that is a legitimate thing that some of these guys need. But what's really difficult is figuring out, okay, which guy just needs a fresh start, which guy needs a fresh set of coaching, which guy needs a different strength and conditioning coach, and which guy just isn't the 5-star that we thought he was coming out of high school. Because here's the other part that I feel like people maybe don't talk about quite enough. Evaluating football players is by far, in my opinion, the hardest evaluation to make. Because there's so many moving parts that are dependent on each other. Baseball is the easiest, right? Everybody's separate. You're playing an individual game that just happens to keep score together, right? That's baseball for the most part. Pitchers a little dependent on fielders and things like that. But for the most part, you can really isolate down who's good and who's not. Basketball is the same way. It's a little more interconnected than baseball. A lot more interconnected than baseball. Baseball is about as disconnected as you can be. But there's fewer guys and they're less dependent on each other than they are in football. In football, you're worried about scheme. You're worried about what the line's doing, what the quarterback's doing, what the other guys at your position are doing. It is so much harder to get a feel. Like if there's a 5-star guy coming out of high school for basketball, that dude can play, right? Maybe he doesn't reach all the way up to his potential, but more often than not, that dude can play. If you go through the top 10 high school recruits every year, I believe they hit the lottery at about a 70% rate in terms of their draft position. That's a really good hit rate. Okay? That is not the case in football. Ever. So it's really tough to look at like an MJ Sherman or an Eric Gilbert or a Jacob Hood, all very highly rated guys, but especially like Gilbert was the number 1 tight end in the class. You know, he was a 5-star. MJ Sherman was very highly regarded, 5-star by some publications as an edge rusher. Was he just bigger than all the kids he was playing in high school? You can just bully people at a certain size and athleticism with football. You know, it's so hard to tell with football. That being said, I like the additions. I do. I'm not trying to poo-poo the additions. I'm just trying to make the point of how difficult it can be to project these guys, especially when they've been in a system for a couple years. Because I look at some of the Nebraska offensive linemen the same way that I look at some of the transfers. You know, you talk about last year where you've got an offensive line coach in Raiola whose philosophy probably doesn't line up real well with an offensive coordinator in Whipple, whose offensive philosophy doesn't line up real well with the head coach in Frost, and it's kind of just a cluster on that side of the ball, so nobody's going to look that good or nobody's going to look their best. And you've got a strength and conditioning coach and staff that maybe isn't putting these guys in the positions they need to be to execute one of the 3 systems that's out there between the line coach, the OC, and the head coach. And I look at a guy like Henry Lutovsky, who was pretty well regarded coming out of high school, or a Bryce Benhart, who was incredibly well regarded coming out of high school, or a Turner Corcoran, who was incredibly well regarded coming out of high school. All the teams that we envy their offensive lines were recruiting these guys. Your Wisconsin, your Iowas, like the big boys that we were like, man, we need lines like them. They were recruiting these guys. So there's something there, right? Or at least there was at one point. So how do we evaluate them when it's almost like they're transferring because everything they're dealing with is new now? They still have the same logo on their shirts and on their helmets, but everything else is new. It's almost like they transferred to a new program because the Matt Rule program is a different program than the Scott Frost program. Thank God. So you look at these and I get excited like everybody else. And right now you're giving people the benefit of the doubt, right? We don't have any reason to doubt Matt Rule yet. And hopefully we never do. But I just have to pause for a minute and be like, man, how many of these guys are actually going to hit? Because nobody has a 100% hit rate, especially in football. You wonder how many of these guys are going to hit. The transfer portal, it's so hard to evaluate, especially high-level guys that haven't gotten on the field yet or haven't gotten on the field much. So hard to evaluate these guys. Jacob Hood's the latest. But listen, those are the guys you want to take a chance on, right? You want to take a chance on the high-talent guys because every coach thinks they can get the best out of them, right? And if you're a good coach, you probably can. But if you're taking swings, you take swings on guys that you think are dudes. And that's what Matt Rule and company are doing right now. And to their credit, they're landing them. We'll see if they can coach them up. We'll see if these guys are actually the high level of talent that the recruiting services projected coming out of high school. But they're landing them, and that's something to be said for sure. All right, coming up next, I have a quarterback comparison I'd like to make. And I'm not trying to be mean. I've tried to lay off the Cowboys. I've got some friends in the building that are Cowboys fans. So I'm not trying to be mean. But I have a question about Dak Prescott. I have just a little question. We'll get to that coming up next on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
None of the 11 offensive players on the NFLPA's All-Pro team were a 5-star recruit, and only one of them, Zach Martin, was a 4-star.
Hell yeah, he was. North Carolina, baby.
Of the 11 defensive players on the All-Pro team, 7 were 5 stars, 2 were 4 stars, the other 2 were 3 stars, so the average was 4.5.
That's nuts.
Isn't that crazy?
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Your Tuesday afternoon forecast will include partly cloudy to mostly cloudy conditions with temperatures topping in the mid to upper 30s. I'm tracking a high of 36 degrees. Northwest winds return tonight under mostly cloudy skies, morning low of 22. Even colder for your Wednesday, mostly cloudy skies, a high of 27. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KETV News Watch 7.
This is a sale so big that Standard Heating and Air can only do it once a year. Right now and for a very limited time, buy a Carrier air conditioner from Standard Heating and Air and get a free furnace. Carrier, turn to the experts. On qualifying equipment, for details, call or click.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgaard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
They say they'll get your biggest tax refund. Jackson Hewitt says your biggest tax refund guaranteed, and a chance to double your tax refund. Thousands in weekly prizes during the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. Your biggest refund times 2, twice the money, so forget about them. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Promotion ends 4/2/23. Visit jacksonhewitt.com for rules.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear.
Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs
and dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media.
Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Sponsored by SAMHSA and Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Looking for a fun business, team building, or meeting idea? Look no further. Golf DJ's Dugout. Try the fun and new golf simulator at DJ's Dugout, 10th and Capitol downtown. Great for groups and individuals. Party packages are available, and you know DJ's has a huge selection of delicious appetizers, food, and drinks that your team will love. DJ's amazing media displays are great for business meetings, too. Golf DJ's Dugout downtown. For more information, visit djsdugout.com. That's djsdugout.com.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula in for Connor Happer. Josh Otson in as always. Josh was getting a little mini workout in, doing a little calisthenics almost.
You got to make the time, Ravi. You got to make the time.
That's what you watch. You ever watch John Bishop in here? Every break he gets up and walks.
Paces. He's pacing.
Gets his steps in. I admire him for it. I just sit here and stare at my phone like an idiot. I was like, I got 4 minutes to get on the Instagrams. That's basically what I do, Josh.
Got to retweet those compliments.
I do. I will retweet every compliment.
Yeah.
That is, I'm incredibly vain. We've had a good show here today. It is flying by. We are just cruising. Wanted to ask you a question, though. Let's go before Sunday, okay? So before the 49ers-Cowboys game, because that wasn't a great look for Dak.
It was not.
So let's go pre-Sunday. Let's see if you can rewind your mind a little bit. Try and take...
All right.
Just hit the mic there, my bad. Try and take Sunday out of your mind. When I say Dak Prescott, in terms of the type of quarterback he is and kind of like what his hierarchy is, what your ceiling is with if he's your guy, what do you think of?
Above average.
Above average, okay. Do you think, hey, I can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott?
You'd have to the pieces around him would have to be so good.
You'd have to be really good everywhere else.
Couldn't possibly fail. Yeah.
Okay.
Possible, not likely.
Do you think that your view of him is above or below where most people have him?
Most people probably wouldn't even give him the benefit of the doubt on what I just did. They'd probably just say, oh, no, you can't win a Super Bowl with him. It's impossible.
Okay, so you think it's lower. You think the general consensus is lower than yours?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't know that for sure, though.
Sure, we haven't done the polling data.
We have not.
But we haven't done very many polls today either. So my perception of this, and I could be wrong, is that prior to, I guess, the injury this year, because he's been a little turnover prone since the injury, it seemed like the perception of Dak Prescott was better, was that he was a pretty good NFL quarterback in the right pieces together. You could maybe win a Super Bowl with him, and that he was kind of on the upswing, right? That he was getting better, still in the prime of his career, and that you could win something real with Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vibe that I got. Let me ask you this question. If I say the name Kirk Cousins, same question, what comes to mind?
The exact same set of answers. I literally thought when answering your question the first time, maybe I'll just say Kirk Cousins for shock value. But that appears the road that we're going down.
No, it is 100% the road that we are going. Because my argument here is that Dak Prescott is just Kirk Cousins with better PR.
I don't think that's off base. No.
He's Kirk Cousins with endorsements.
Yeah.
Basically. Because and I did some research here. Show prep, they call it.
Wow.
So they have different lengths of careers, so I don't want to go by totals or anything like that.
Okay.
Pro Football Reference, terrific website.
No, that's the abbreviation. It's a fine website. They're just
Pro Football Reference has a tool that you can compare. You can compare quarterbacks, and it will give you an option to compare their careers on per game averages.
Okay.
You ready for this?
I think so.
Kirk Cousins, 22.9 completions per game. Dak Prescott, 22.5 completions per game.
All right.
Kirk Cousins, 34.3 attempts per game. Dak Prescott, 33.8 attempts per game. Kirk Cousins, 261.5 yards per game. Dak Prescott, 257.1 yards per game. Kirk Cousins, 1.8 touchdowns per game. Dak Prescott, 1.7 touchdowns per game. Kirk Cousins, 0.7 interceptions per game. Dak Prescott, 0.7 interceptions per game. Sacks. Kirk Cousins, 2 per game, 2.0. Dak Prescott, 2.0 sacks per game.
Oh, wow. Nice round numbers.
These are almost identical quarterbacks.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, shockingly. When I came up with this comparison, I had not done this exercise yet. I was like, you know what? I get a lot, because I had kind of looked at the yards. It's like, man, they throw for a lot of yards. They top 4,000 yards a lot, each of them frequently when they're healthy. They kind of get you in that like 30 touchdown, 10, 12 interception neighborhood. They are shockingly similar. I mean, we're talking about less than half a completion difference, less than half an attempt difference, 4.4 yards difference, 0.1 touchdown difference, exact interceptions, exact sacks per game. These are almost identical quarterbacks.
That's wild.
This worked out way better than I ever imagined. I looked this up last night and I was like, holy crap. They are the same guy. And to be fair, I think they give you the same ceiling. If you put Kirk Cousins, because I think Dallas's roster is better than Minnesota's. That's fair, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
If you put Kirk Cousins on the Cowboys, they're probably the exact same team.
Mm-hmm.
You put Dak Prescott on the Vikings, they're probably the exact same team. I could not believe how similar their careers are. Like, it blew me away. And I guess my point here is the perception that part of it's that he just plays for the Cowboys, right?
Right.
Like
major franchise in the league. And
major
all the
franchise
attention
in the league. I think I don't have this right in front of me. I think they were both drafted in the 4th round, if I remember correctly, which is crazy. But the perception of how we think of certain guys often is kind of just mythos. It's just a thing that we decide.
Right.
Right? We decide this guy's a winner, or this guy's got a higher ceiling, or this guy's whatever, right? We decided last year that Josh Allen is one of those guys. Guess what? Josh Allen is crazy reckless with the ball. He fumbles a ton, always has. It seems like last year was an aberration with the interceptions being down a bit. Those have come back. Is he super duper talented? Absolutely. Is he Mahomes? Absolutely not. And last year we were talking about Josh Allen like he was Mahomes, right? Especially after the playoff game.
Yeah. Oh, if he had just had the ball in overtime.
Yeah, we talked about Josh Allen in the exact same breath with Patrick Mahomes. That's not who he is. He's Brett Favre 2.0. Bigger, more athletic, huge arm, crazy reckless.
Hopefully more philanthropic.
Hopefully less fraudulent.
Well, yeah.
That's
it's a more on the nose way of saying it.
And a little more discerning about who he sends text messages to.
Yeah.
That would be ideal. But on the football field, same guy. Pretty much the same guy. Better skill set, probably. Josh Allen's a better runner, I think, than Brett Favre was, although Brett Favre was sneaky mobile.
He could scamper.
He could scoot a little bit.
Yeah.
A little boot scoot. I could not believe how similar Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins were. So just when people are talking about a guy and a guy who you think, oh man, he's going to be one of those dudes, just take a minute. Because as recently as like 6 months ago, not even, like 4 months ago, like I said, pre-injury Dak, I think people thought, this most recent injury Dak, you have to specify there.
Yeah.
I think people thought could get this team to a Super Bowl. If you don't think that about Kirk Cousins, you shouldn't think that about Dak Prescott. That's my point.
It's even weird when you talk about their contracts because it was, you got to pay Dak. You got to pay Dak.
And nobody has ever wanted to pay Kirk.
Yeah, with those, I guess we'll pay Kirk.
Everybody who has ever paid Kirk has done so begrudgingly. They're like, well, I mean, do we have anybody better? Are you sure? No, really, do we have anybody better? Nope. All right, sign him up.
They're both too good to cut.
And probably not good enough to get you where you want to go.
Exactly.
Which begs the question, is being in NFL QB purgatory worse than just not having anyone at all? Because if you don't have anyone at all, at least you know. Like who's a really bad quarterback?
Nathan Peterman.
Who's a really bad starting quarterback?
And Nate started a game this year.
A game. Like, okay. So,
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, they've already paid him. The ship has sailed on that one.
Yeah,
let's say Zach Wilson, okay? Bad NFL quarterback. I don't think that's turning around. Fair?
Sure.
It's early, but
yeah, probably not.
Early return's not good.
Not great.
If you're the Jets, you can look at that and say, yeah, this isn't working. You can move on. You're like, we like the rest of our roster. Let's find somebody else. If you've got Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins in that situation with the Jets, you're just like, I don't know what we do. I mean, we made the playoffs probably. If one of those guys is on the roster, you probably make the playoffs with the Jets. They were better this year. They have a pretty good roster around them. They drafted really well last year. I think being in QB purgatory is the worst place you can be. It's like being a 9 seed in the NBA where you're like, yeah, you're not getting Victor Wembanyama. You're going to play in the play-in games.
Yeah.
And you're going to get somebody.
You're going to get a little taste. You're going to get a little hope.
Yeah. You're going to be like, oh, we made the playoffs. But you're not winning a championship. and you're not getting a draft pick that can change your franchise, you're in purgatory. And it's the worst place to be. All right, coming up next, we've got what to watch tonight, and we will wrap up the show here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Welcome to Digital Express. On the Fort Omaha campus of Metropolitan Community College, Digital Express is an inviting space for people to learn and interact with technology. It's a place where multiple generations can feel comfortable. A place where K-12 students can come for support and workshops. A place where families can connect, learn, and create. And a place to ask basic questions about technology and receive low-cost technology repairs. For more information, visit mccneb.edu/Digital Express.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
Listen to the Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jay shoot-around and overtime shows. The Creighton men's basketball pregame and postgame shows on 1620 The Zone. The Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jay shoot-around and overtime shows are also presented by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More, by Barry Law, by Union Bank and Trust, and by DJ's Dugout. Before and after each Creighton game, exclusively on your home for the Creighton Blue Jays. 1620 The Zone, 1620 The Zone mobile app, and 1620thezone.com.
Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others look away, we step in to act. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year, we're there to vaccinate more than 1 million. Because some countries have only 1 or 2 mental health professionals, we provided over 400,000 mental health consultations last year. The fact is, your support makes our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula, your host, with Connor Happer out sick. Josh Otson is here, powering through. Appreciate it.
I got you.
How you feeling? You still feeling okay?
I'm all right. I'm all right. We'll
Okay.
see what the afternoon brings.
Okay, power through. Let me know. Keep me posted.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a fun show today. This thing's flown by. We've got not a ton of poll questions to get to, but we do have a few poll questions to get to.
We do. First one from the crossover. Are you in on a new Corey Feldman movie? I would vote probably not on this one.
Yeah, it's a no for me, Doug.
74% of the audience said no.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Are you tired of the "my team lost, I'll break my TV" bit?
Ooh, okay. That's a good one.
92% of the audience said yes.
Oh,
and
that's high.
I think I would agree with them.
Is that a record?
No, I believe we've had higher this year, but it is
Okay.
close.
Okay.
It's within 3%.
Okay. All right. Good.
And does anything that happened before 1980 count? I believe that was a phrase uttered by you.
It was. That's out of context,
Well,
to be fair.
That's the poll questions, my man. 70%, almost 71% of the audience said yes. Things
does
before
count.
1980 count.
That's because everybody that answered that was born before 1980, probably.
A lot of people commented that, or things that happened after 1980 don't count.
Oh, well.
So really divided the audience on that one.
That's my bad.
And finally, does Jimmy Fallon seem like a guy who just wants both teams to have fun? 82% of the audience said yes.
That's accurate. Yeah. That seems low, to be honest.
Definitely.
Mean, somebody's not familiar with Jimmy Fallon, I guess. Those are the poll questions. What do we have to? What are we watching tonight?
Well, it's rivalry night in the National Basketball Association on TNT.
We talked no basketball today.
Not a shot, not a hoop, not a bucket.
You're welcome. Big football guy over here.
That's right.
Except for tomorrow when I'm on the Creighton call.
That's right. Celtics Heat is your first game at 6:30. No Malcolm Brogdon, no Jaylen Brown, no Al Horford, no Marcus Smart for the Celtics as they lost to the Magic last night.
Just Jason Tatum and like a bunch of dudes?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It will be. We'll see if that's enough against the Heat.
Sure, that'll be fun.
And then the Clippers travel all the way to the Lakers tonight for a 9:00 tip. College basketball, your sickos selection, Penn State at Rutgers, 5:30 on BTN.
Yeah.
Ohio State at Illinois, 6:00 on ESPN. Number 5, K-State at number 12, Iowa State, 8:00 tip there on ESPNU. Yeah, that should be a fun one. MLB Hall of Fame class announcement, 6:00 on MLB Network. Looks like Todd Helton and Scott Rowland will be your class. Andrew Jones looks like he's going to come up just a little bit short.
Andrew Jones is more of a Hall of Famer than Scott Rowland. I will die on that hill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Braves fan, so I'm a little biased. But
Andrew Jones, absolutely more of a Hall of Famer than Scott Rowland. Get out of here, Scott Rowland.
9:00 on HBO, Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. They're going to go into the alleged siphoning of millions and millions of dollars by Brett Favre. So
love a good expose there.
Yeah. And on Hulu, the season 2 premiere of How I Met Your Father with Hilary Duff, the sequel series to How I Met Your Mother, which is a show we referenced earlier in the show.
Did you watch the first season?
I have not. I have been a little too scared to try it, I guess, would be how I would classify that.
I think tonally they're very similar to the.
Oh, okay.
Like it's the same vibe.
Okay.
I don't know if it's good or not. I didn't hate it.
Oh.
And tonally, I thought the vibe was similar. I thought they were close.
I still, when I think of that show, my instant gut reaction is the last season was so bad.
Yeah, they blew the ending.
Still, that is my word association with How I Met Your Mother.
They missed the ending worse than every Brett Maher kick we've seen in the postseason. That's all! Got him! That's the show for today. Ravi Lulin for Connor Happer, Josh Otson, as always. The crossover is coming up next.
Live from the host